They've been able to open sides up with their spread forward. But as teams have got a little bit better on the inside to at the contest, then that's been taken away from them. And I think defensively on the transition, they've been hurt in a number of games, and that's where the Ringwood hurt them because they were able to get them on the inside contest, and then they weren't able to transition outside as well as what they could have.
Well, Perenni's kicked 29 goals, Steve, averaging over 3 a game, so that's in pretty good nick. A guy I reckon that's probably provided a good foil, right? And Zach Carroll from Doncaster. He's been a good pickup for Mitcham as well. 10 goals, and he's been in their best 3 times. So, look, he adds a little bit of experience to a side that's very, that is a very settled side. There's no stars, because you look at Mitcham, there isn't one player that week in and week out has been in their best 5 named. They're all around that 4 and 5 mark, so they're getting an even contribution around the ground from all their players at certain stages of each game.
And 2 other guys I have to mention on the Mitcham side of the equation, James McCubbin and Jesse Smith, both having pretty good seasons so far.
Yeah, look, and again, McCubbin, he's someone that's going to give them it's a bit like Zach Carroll. Zach Carroll's been when you look at the recruits that they've got, Zach Carroll went unnoticed a little bit, and yet he is a quality footballer. McCubbin certainly, got a lot to like about him. James Smith is the other one as well. So, as you said, they haven't got their out-and-out stars, but they've got a lot of, I'd call them B+, A- players that are going to give you each week, and they're going to stand up and perform. And when you look at their results, that's what they're getting. They've not gone out and smashed sides, but they've gone out and they've been able to outwork a number of sides. And then when they've been beaten, they haven't been beaten easily. They've been outworked the other way, I suppose, is the other way of looking at it.
Well, you look at Heathmont here. Look, their average winning margin over the season is 47 points, and 45 of them is at the average home. They win by 45 points. Mitcham, their away record is when they win by 44 points, but when they lose, only lose by 4 goals. So that's not a terrible average.
No.
When you compare it against some of the other clubs in the competition.
Yeah, and this has been the thing about this competition. When we look at it, it's been terribly difficult to work out where they're going. So we looked at Baronia and we thought they were going to waltz through, and then they had the terrible run where they had injuries, but then they got them back, and they still had that 3-week period where they were really poor. Scoresby have dropped right away. So there's been a number of issues. Templestowe have been inconsistent, Basin inconsistent, Ringwood have worked their way through. So tough division to work out where we're going.
Well, I believe you mentioned that last Saturday in the preview last Saturday, especially how Division 1 and Division 2 have basically become a lottery. Yep. On trying how to pick a winner on form. And as I was sitting there watching the broadcast last week, I had my computer open and I was looking up what you were saying, and I'm thinking, he's right here, because Barford, Mitcham and Scoresby, Mulgrave and Scoresby, this division is just as hard to pick as what it is in Division 1.
Oh, without a doubt. And each side is producing performances which make you like them and like what they've been able to give. And you look at them and they do it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you say to yourself, gee, they're on. We've got a side coming through here, and then all of a sudden they'll put in a performance which is unlike them. So we had Baronia putting un-Baronia-like performances in. So it is tough, and that's why today is so important for both these sides. But I think it's important, as we've said, for very different reasons. I think, the Mitcham not having beaten sides around them are up. And I think Heathmont just need to win another game to continue the good form that they've had, and it builds the confidence. And again, having some good players back in the team will just add that to them.
And we are now joined by the senior assistant coach of the Heathmont Footy Club, Andrew Smith. Andrew, thanks for joining us here on the EFL pre-game show.
No worries, boys.
1-5 of your last 6. Yep. Your assessment of how you're travelling so far this season?
I think we're hitting our straps now. It's taken a while. I think, obviously, when you get new coaches in, the boys take a while to adapt. And I think they've got a little bit of belief in themselves, which I think was first and foremost, and they're believing in what we're trying to achieve as well. So I think that's stemming now to playing some good football.
Now, big inclusion today's side, Finn Brown in the team. Just how much does he mean to this club?
Yeah, well, he just gives us a vocal point at full forward. I think it's his third game back now. So he hit the scoreboard last week, kicked 4-7. Could have been a real big day, but I think he took over 10 marks. So he had a great game. He laid half a dozen tackles. So yeah, no, he's an exciting machine, that's for sure.
Andrew, with Finn coming back into the side, does that sort of mean that you've got a little bit more flexibility now with guys like Savoury and Abruzzi, where you might be able to play a Robbie Savoury down at full forward rather than in a ruck, and Abruzzi the same way? Yeah, absolutely.
I think we had all three of them one of the games, and they sort of run on top of each other, like the three big fellas, and we're sort of just gone back to now having Benny Abruzzi, sometimes he's been playing on the ball. We played him as ruck rover last week. He's pinched hit in the ruck as well, but Sav's been our ruck all year, and he's sort of stayed there, and if we've got him, he's normally gone back.
Yeah, okay.
Just to fill a hole for a little bit, and then more ruck. But he's our stay home full forward, and then we've got Ahan. He can either go full forward or centre half forward. So yeah, it gives us a lot more flexibility, that's for sure, and it troubles a lot of sides because he's got three genuine tools. So.
Well, Ahan's come from a Montrose, first a Premier Division club. What experience and what's he brought to the club this year?
Well, he's brought some excitement, that's for sure. Like he can take a mark, and he can be equally frustrating at the same time. But he's a real competitor, and he's again one of those players that's worked out what Kyle and I want, and he's starting to show the wares of that now. He's hitting the scoreboard, he's competing. We also throw him in the ruck, and he gives us another dimension as well, because he's got a sensational vertical leap. So yeah, no, he's been good, been very good.
I suppose one of the things I've looked at over the last 7 weeks is that you've been the most consistent side in the competition, if you do look at that, and that's been something that probably, if you look at the other sides around you, they've been all over the place at times. They've had moments where they've looked great, and then suddenly they've fallen away. You seem to be building nicely, and as you said, the fact that you've got a couple of players back in, and now that they're understanding that having a playing coach is really different. They've had 3 years where Joel has been the sideline coach, but you've now got a playing coach who's come from a top level. It's taken a while to get used to that system, and do you find now that you really think that they're really switched on exactly what Cole is able to bring on field and off field?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I think it's new, as you said, for most football clubs these days. There's not many of them, and I don't know whether Heathmont in the past have had any, to be honest. And I think that's what they've got used to. Me doing a bit of talking as well, where Kyle's, he's the appointed senior coach, but his leadership on field is also helping the group as well. So that's his other dimension. That's probably why he just concentrates on playing game day, and we just let him go about his thing.
And how have you found, he's probably had to take a little bit of time getting used to this standard, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, because every division has its own standard. He's come from, obviously, his Vermont Bayswater experience, but also Collegians, was it? I think he came from as well. Yep. So he's come from a very different standard. How's he found the transition into this sort of footy?
I think he's actually been okay. He's pretty level-headed, Cole. I'm a little bit different. I'm probably, I pick up things and go, why don't I do this? And he just goes, just remember where we are. But what I value here, I think the football standard is great. Yep. It's just the professionalism around training, the understanding, probably more of the press ups and the rollbacks and all these sort of things, more from a structural perspective.
Yep.
They're a little bit slower to grasp, but that's where I think our improvement has come, that they grasp that now. They've understood what we're trying to achieve with that, which is that next level of football. If you want to compete with the big boys, you've got to adapt to the way the game's changed. It's not just grab the football and kick it now. And that's probably what you were talking about before, the lower divisions. There's a lot of that.
Yep.
So, as I said, we're starting to play a smarter brand of football as well.
And I suppose lastly from me, the thing that I've looked through your side, you've got a lot of young kids. You've got a big group that are under that 23-year age group. So that augurs well for what happens. And I know we're looking at this year, but it also is nice to know that that's the sort of, I suppose, foundation that you can start building for the future.
Yeah, that's spot on. We've got, I think the 4 players that will be on the bench today, they're probably all 19, 20. And there's probably 10 that have just come out of under 19s. So it's fantastic for the club. And we've got young Coughlin, he's playing, and so here's his third game, and he's bottom age as well in the under-19. So then we had Declan Brown, who was the captain of the under-19s, but he wants to finish playing under-19. So yeah, the future's bright, definitely bright, and I think you've got to reward them. Like, they train, they do all the pre-season, and you can make that mistake in a lot of clubs. Don't give them a go, and then they'll go somewhere else. And that was our intention when we got here, Kyle, was to give use the terminology, a sucker an even break, and give everyone a fresh page. And that's what we've done. We've given every kid, every senior player who said he can only play here or he can only play there. We'll work that out. We've worked that out ourselves, and we'll give everyone a chance.
Andrew, with Kyle being a playing coach, does he actually play a position where he thinks he's needed on a weekly basis, or is he looking to betting a certain position? Because normally in his playing days he played that sweeper role off the half back line, but does he have to play a more varied role on field to suit the game?
Yeah, it's funny because he wants to play midfield. Yep. As most, it doesn't matter who you are. You want to be in amongst it, but he plays that sweeper role in the centre corridor as well. But we've played where it's best suiting the team. Like I said before, his leadership and setting us up structurally is really good. He's played back, he's played mid, he's played forward. So he'll go where we see him fit, pretty much. But as I said, he wants to be in the midfield.
All right, Andrew, thanks for joining us here on the EFL pre-game show, and best of luck to the Jets this afternoon.
No worries, thanks, boys.
That's Senior Assistant Coach Andrew Smith of the Heathmont Footy Club, and best of luck to them this afternoon as they take on Mitcham Tigers. We'll take a short break here on EFL Game Day. You're listening to SEN 1377.
State of Origin, Game 2.
And you're clear.
Seeing SEN.
The King Living Winter Sale is on now.
Now, just a quick thing too. When I say mics are on, don't say thanks to me because it goes to air.
Yes.
Yeah, I normally pause a little bit just to wait to hear you say thanks, but I didn't just before, and we got to hear you.
About what you would want at your funeral. It's a bit like when you go to a wedding.
Yeah, that's right.
At what stage do you start planning?
Have an open and honest conversation with your loved ones. Celebrate your life the way you want, like I did with a fixed price funeral plan from Tobin Brothers Funerals. The price doesn't change and your life will be celebrated your way. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
The senior coach has taken the team to Eastland for a post-game feed. If only they had this kind of teamwork on the field. They've just ordered starters to share, plus frothies for the whole table. And now Steve-O's chucked a prawn to Macca. He circled back. Yes! Straight into his pie hole. Yo, beauty! Good form, boys. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland. Proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland. Live real.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
At Melbourne Airport, you can get 1 hour terminal parking for just $12. It makes it easy to greet your loved ones when they come home, or give them a proper send-off. You can also park for up to 3 hours for just $24 and 1 day for $51. That's cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes and everything in between, Melbourne Airport Parking is here to get you there. Visit melbourneairport.com.au.
Tyre Power is Australia's biggest independent tyre retailer, and right now they're having Australia's biggest independent stock take sale, which means you have the power to save on Falcon tyres. Buy 3 and get 1 free on a huge range of Falcon passenger car tyres. That's buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Falcon tyres, but only at Tyre Power. See website for details. Tyre Power's biggest ever stock take sale is now on. Visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner operator.
From where you are.
Okay, we've got 1.5 minutes.
From the game.
Just a quick thing too. I'm in delay at the moment. Now, not that it makes much difference, but I'm going to come out of it. So after when the guys throw to the next break, I'm going to come out of delay. So you'll hear nothing for about 10 seconds in theory, or you might hear the same thing come back at you for 10 seconds. It won't matter to you guys. So I'll hit the delay button. 10 seconds later, you'll hear program come back at you.
Robot Building Supplies website now.
All right, 1 minute now.
Need to build the best man cave a bloke ever hid from his family in. Steel wall sheeting, corrie sheeting, purlins, steel, insulation, Rio mesh, bolts and screws. I can order it on the website and get it all delivered.
Save time and money with Robot. Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. Call 1300 GO ROBOT or order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
Breakfast with Gary Lyon and Tim Watson.
Hugh McLaughlin, do you think he's
30?
Well, what are you hearing?
I think there's an expectation, Tim, that probably at the end of next year that he would move on, because I think he's contracted to the end of 2020. There's been some speculation in the paper about who his successor might be.
Who do you think it'll be?
Well, probably Brendan Gale.
For Melbourne Airport long-term car park, unbeatable deals this tax time with AEG Power Tools and Toyota Means Business. Back Monday from...
Okay, here we go.
Streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
Let's head back and go local.
Okay, I'm putting the mics on now. And go.
And you're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. It's EFL game day here from HE Parker Reserve out in Heathmont for the Division 2 clash between Heathmont Footy Club and Mitcham, as the reserves are currently on the field right now, and the score there with just approaching time on in the third quarter. Heathmont 10-3-63 leading Mitcham 2-14. Don't forget, from 5 p.m. this afternoon, the EFL post-game show will bring you all the scores and results from around the Eastern Football League as you go local for your footy. And tomorrow, EFL Sunday from 10 o'clock on SEN at 1377. Join BWS and the crew, and they'll break down and listen to some of the winning coaches. But right now, though, we're joined by Aaron Smith, the assistant coach here at Mitcham Footy Club. Aaron, welcome to the EFL game pre-game show. Good start to the season for the Tigers, and then the last couple of weeks have been a bit rough. Tough game against Ringwood last week. Just your assessment of how the season's travelling so far.
Yeah, thanks for having us. You're right, the last few weeks have been tougher for us in terms of I guess just being able to put our best foot forward, but today provides another challenge for us against who are a very strong club in the Heathmont Jets, and we're really looking forward to the challenge. We've worked hard through the week. We've been able to maybe tweak a few things going into today's game, and hopefully it'll pay off for us with a positive result.
Now, two guys we were talking about before the show, prior to coming on, James McCubbin and Zach Carroll having good seasons. Your assessment of how they're playing so far?
Yeah, look, they're both really important to us. And both of those guys really provide a contest and a real target for us up forward. They're quality players who will need quality defenders, and again, going into today, we look forward to a strong performance from both.
I suppose having a look at the season where you've come into the division, and I reckon you've hit it really hard early. Bit of an unknown also from your point of view, but also from the opposition point of view. And the thing that's different about this year is that suddenly everybody gets to look at everybody on a screen and can work them out. Do you think teams have slowly started to look at your style and gone, well, maybe if we played this, because you certainly, your run from the contest is outstanding. Early on it was just unbeatable. You were able to transition from defence to forward really easily, and Parenti was able to he was an unknown quantity apart from what you knew to opposition. Do you think that that's what's happened recently, as the teams have started to work out a little bit, and now you've just got to work out harder how to get over that as well?
Yeah, I think you raised some really good points. I think with the association being able to provide the vision to clubs on a weekly basis, it's a real coaching and teaching tool, and I just wonder whether opposition clubs have been able to do their homework, in inverted commas, in terms of how we play and how we set up. Look, as a result, we've tweaked a few things just recently to see if we can't overcome how oppositions might be reading how we play. And we're going to go into today's game with those sort of slight tweaks to our game plan to see if we can't get a more positive result. So, yeah, we look forward to the contest today.
I suppose one of the things about today that you'd be looking at is that with the inclusion of Finn Brown, who suddenly got a little bit of form under his belt, and we know what he was able to do last year when he got going, his ability to, he just sucks the football into his area, one of those sort of players. It then releases Savoury to do other things, and Nana coming in gives them another ruck option. So I suppose there are a few things that you've got to look at today to say that we have to compete with these and then play our own game of footy.
That's true, and they've got a number of good players across their team. So again, we've done our homework in terms of how we might be able to negate their influence going into today's game. But having said that, though, you should always try and accentuate the positives, which are how you want to play, as well as try and align to your strengths, and that's what we aim to do with hopefully will be a strong performance today.
Aaron, you're averaging around 4 goals a quarter, which is really good at this particular standard. So you're getting around 90 points a match, which roughly equates to nearly 40 inside 50s over a 4-quarter period. That's pretty good going. Does that mean that you're able to really maximise Jake Parenti's ability down at full forward?
I think so. Look, Jake's having a great season, and he's a quality player. And I think through those inside 50s, you want to try and maximise your output on the scoreboard through your key players up forward. And you've obviously done your homework in terms of your stats, so well done. I think for us as well, the challenge is to not leak too many goals on the other side in terms of what our opposition are doing, and maybe just try and curb our influence and maybe be a little bit stronger in and around the contest and the stoppages to try and prevent them bringing the ball inside their forward 50. So that provides and presents an ongoing challenge for us to try and get both sides of our play as strong as what they can and should be.
Well, the opposition are only scoring 64 points a match against you, so that ranks you in the top 4 anyway. So that's really good that you're getting that really good consistency from all lines across the ground that can actually help create those scoring opportunities.
Yeah, good point. And for us, we look at the last 3 or 4 games, as has been touched on this afternoon, and look, we've been in those games that we've lost, and the margins have been quite close. The challenge for us is to try and be in the positive ledger going into today's game. So hopefully we can play well enough to be able to do that.
How's Neil said? He's been there he's been at the club now quite a while. How's he travelling this year with regards to his football and more recently his own injuries and stuff like that?
Neil's going well. Great coach. We know that he's a quality player, quality person, and to have him as the figurehead of the Mitcham Football Club, it's a fantastic thing for our club. And in terms of, I guess, his health and his resilience in terms of how he's going about at game day, he's coping with the rigours of play as well as the demands on him as a coach. So, no, he's going well. He's going well.
How have you found, obviously last year, finished the year off well. Yeah, there's a few things. How have you found the standard of the football? Because it looks like that you've come down and as I said, you hit the ground running by playing some good quality football. And how have you actually found the standard of the competition this year?
The standard of the competition is very, very good, and it's very even. I did some coaching at the Mitcham Football Club some years back, and this is the first year that I've come back into a coaching role. And look, I've been pleasantly surprised with just how competitive the division is. Very even, very strong, and regardless of who you're coming up against each week, you know that you're going to be in for a really, really strong contest, and I think that'll be again the case today.
And I suppose the other thing about today is that I don't think this ground will hold any fears for you, because size-wise, I think it matches up pretty well. It has got a little bit of that. It's got that hill that it looks like it runs downhill dramatically, but when you get out there, it's not actually as bad as what you think. But I would think that your setup and structure on this ground would be you'd be pretty happy with.
I'd agree with you. And there is a fair slope out there, actually, when you have a look at it from this vantage point, but that's okay. That's the case for both sides. But look, I agree with you. I think the dimensions of the ground would suit us in terms of how we set up and how we'd like to run the ball and being able to share and use those open spaces. So hopefully that plays into its own today.
All right, Aaron, we'll let you go. Best of luck to the Tigers today, and thanks for joining us at the EFL pre-game show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Aaron.
Assistant coach of the Mitcham Football Club, Aaron Smith there, and we're looking forward to this game between Heathmont and Mitcham this afternoon. We'll take a short break here on SEN 1377, and we'll be back with more of EFL Game Day right after this.
Breakfast with...
Dig!
it home!
NBA.
Curry up a dime for a right-hand slam!
A-League Finals.
Honda!
State of Origin.
The war is over. New South Wales are champions yet again.
The 2019 Cricket World Cup.
Drives. This could be it. He beats Smith off. It's out to the boundary for 4.
When big sport happens, you'll hear it live on SEN and the SEN app. Download today.
Hello, I'm Nick for the Family Peace Foundation. When I grow up, I'm never going to drink alcohol. I reckon it's the worst thing when my parents drink too much. They think it's funny. Well, I don't. And neither does my big sister. And the mornings after they drink too much are just awful. They get in such bad moods with us and each other. If only they wouldn't. Family Peace. Do it for your kids.
This season may be over, but the NBA action never stops. The stage is set on June 21 for the NBA Draft. Watch and see which teams draft the next generation of stars in the eye-popping fashion choices of this year's draft class. Then, catch the NBA Awards on June 25 to see who will take out this season's highest honours, the MVP, Rookie of the Year, and more. Don't forget, with NBA League Pass, you can watch the NBA Draft, NBA Awards, and Summer League live. Download the NBA app or visit NBA.com for details.
Hey boss, I think we've got a problem in the kitchen.
Ah, great. What sort of problem?
Well, there's a weird smell and some stains inside the cabinets.
It doesn't sound too bad.
It could be. I had a similar thing at home. There was a tiny crack in a water pipe, but it caused a huge mould problem.
So what did you do?
Called Identifiber. Better safe than sorry.
Don't guess with your health. If you're concerned about unknown stains, discoloration or odours at home or in the workplace, go straight to identifiber.com.au and get expert advice.
Hi, Craig Lowndes here. I may be an expert at wrestling a supercar around a racetrack, but I'm not an expert on tyres. That's why when it comes to my family's safety, I rely on the expert advice I get from the team at Tyre Power. I know that the tyres Tyre Power recommend for my family's car will not only be the right size, they'll be right for local conditions and right for my budget. That's just another reason why I get the power at Tyre Power. Seriously, why would you buy your tyres anywhere else?
At Melbourne Airport, you can get 1 hour terminal parking for just $12. It makes it easy to greet your loved ones when they come home or give them a proper send-off. You can also park for up to 3 hours for just $24 and 1 day for $51. That's cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes and everything in between, Melbourne Airport parking is here to get you there. Visit melbourneairport.com.au.
Do you hold a current full Victorian motorcycle or scooter licence and want to earn some extra cash? Scooty! Melbourne's new two-wheeled taxi service is here. And right now, Scooty is looking for motor scooter drivers to beat Melbourne's traffic congestion and get people to the game, the gig or the meeting. Sign up at scooty.com.au today and turn your motor scooter into a money-making machine. Scooty. Delivering people.
Okay, 30 seconds.
AB in the dock.
Going to call it out, but they start writing stories about Tim Kelly for no particular reason.
Been on the radio.
Yes, listen to this. Okay. There you go.
It's got a censor to Tim Kelly.
It picks up a Tim Kelly story that tells us nothing. It's not me. It's just automatic, Kevin.
Foray Scutters, Australian made, built to last. And On Deck, small business loans approved in hours. Apply now, ondeck.com.au.
KB in the dock, back Monday from 3. Waitley, Monday from 9 on SEN.
Okay, here we go.
Let's head back and go.
Put the mics on now. And go.
And welcome back. You're listening to SEN 1377. It's the EFL pre-game show here from HE Parker Reserve out in Heathmont, bringing you the Division 2 clash between Heathmont and Mitcham, currently in the reserves. And quarter number 4, about 3 minutes into the final quarter, 10-4-64, Heathmont leading Mitcham 2-14. And there's a little bit of action on behind the play, but we can't commentate on that. We'll wait until after 2 o'clock when we'll bring you the seniors game, to make sure you stay tuned for that one. And from 5 o'clock, we'll have the post-game show, bringing you all the scores and results from all 22 games across the Eastern Football League. And speaking of all 22 games across the Eastern Football League, it's time to go through them and give the verdict on each of the fixtures in round number 10 of the Eastern Football League, starting with Premier Division and Balwyn and South Croydon.
Yeah, this is the match of the round, I believe, and I think this is where at the start of the year we probably were a bit surprised that Balwyn beat South Croydon at South Croydon round 1. South Croydon had a number of injuries which didn't help. Got a couple back. I'm going Balwyn at Balwyn, probably because it's at Balwyn, and I think they're probably just going a little bit too well at the moment compared with South Croydon.
South Croydon probably got their best side on paper on the ground. They've got Burnage back, who helps them in the ruck, which releases Max King up the forward line. They're going to need him today. Anderson's back. He'll provide some good outside run. I think Balwyn, I like you. They're going to miss a young kid called Sharman. He's out injured today. Tell you what, he's going to be a footballer in the making. But at Cherry Road this afternoon, I think Balwyn are going to get the job done. But South Croydon, I think, are poised and ready to give them a big fright.
Balwyn have been informed despite losing a couple of weeks ago, but taking out obviously the clash over Noble Park on the Queen's birthday weekend. Moving on to Norwood versus Vermont. Now obviously the talk at Norwood was the is he in or is he out signing of Tom Boyd. Vermont obviously on top of the ladder. How are we seeing this one?
Oh, this is a danger game for Vermont. I know Vermont, and we were talking about it beforehand, that Vermont don't really like going to Norwood. They struggle on that ground. But Norwood really shot themselves in the foot last week by getting done by Doncaster at Doncaster, so that really hurts them. They need to bounce back today. The thing that's been impressive about Vermont this year is that they are winning every game, and if you look at their list, they have got a multitude of players out, and they are able to. Their depth is absolutely enormous. I still think they're going to be too good today, but it's going to be a really tough game at Norwood.
Yeah, it's always a 50-50. Vermont always go to Norwood. There's always they can win there one year and not the next, Steve. So that gives Norwood a chance this afternoon. But I think, like Davo said, I think Vermont's depth is a bit insurmountable for Norwood, but the Norsemen will be encouraged that it's back on their home deck, and only knowing that Vermont can slip up there, that still holds them in the contest, but I think Vermont for mine.
And we move over to Shrams. The Sharks taking on Noble Park. Now Doncaster obviously coming off a win against Norwood last week. Talked a little bit about Doncaster's season on NFL Insight this week. Only 2 wins, ravaged by injuries. Guys like Batsanis, Van der Haar, and Rambaldi still overseas. Bit injury depleted, but a good bounce back win. Is it too late for them to make a charge of finals?
No, it's not. Yep. It's not. And Doncaster, they've been the one we've been waiting for. Was last week the start? I don't know, but I think they can go on again and beat Noble Park today at Doncaster. It's not going to be easy because Noble Park have been really solid all year, but I think that they're probably Doncaster's body size might be a little bit better in the conditions that they might get at Shrams compared with Nobles, and I'm tipping them to win a close one.
With such a young side that Mick's nurturing throughout the year, inconsistency is going to be one of the things that plague you all year, and that really came to the fore in the Queen's birthday game. Doncaster, out of all the sides, like Davo said, we've been waiting for. They probably have got the biggest upside. And it's basically the master against the apprentice this afternoon. It's Mick Fogarty versus Stuart Kemperman. And I'm sure Stuart would love to get a win this afternoon. And I think I'm going to tip them this afternoon. It's going to be a close game. But I think just the experience of Doncaster might just get them over the line.
Well, the other thing is that I just had a look. Noble have lost their last 5.
Yeah.
So that's hurting them as well. So it's that confidence with the young side as well.
And moving on to the team you just briefly mentioned there, Davo, Roeville taking on North Ringwood. Roeville won 4 in a row, including the only team to beat Vermont this season. For mine, they're the Smoky in Premier Division. Your take?
I agree 100%. Smoky in this division at Roeville, tough to beat. North Ringwood have not been terrible, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to beat them.
Fait accompli for me. I'm sorry, but when a side can only kick 4 goals a game, it's not going to win you enough games of football. And the thing is, Roeville are very good is when they get a sniff at a breakdown of structure, they'll do it, and they're real clinical at doing it. And that's the thing that brings North Ringwood undone. They just cannot maintain their structure for 4 quarters, and the opposition gets hold of them. They have no way of responding, and I think Roeville will march to a big victory this afternoon.
And the final game, round 10 in the Premier Division, Montrose taking on Blackburn. Blackburn coming off a pair of losses last week against Roeville. Montrose been competitive all season, but just can't seem to play the full 4 quarters of footy.
Yeah, this is a dangerous game for Blackburn, I think. They're not travelling as well as what they had been at the start of the year, where they were able to defeat a lot of sides and they played that good quality football. Montrose, as you said, haven't been terrible. Look, I still think Blackburn will win it, but it's a danger game for them.
I was really, just when you think Blackburn were ready to take the next step, they get beaten last week against a potential finalist, and that's what I'm looking for from them, because I really do rate them this year. So I was really disappointed with the way they went down last week. That being said, Montrose at home always play well. They're always in games for 3 quarters, but I just think that the goal-kicking experience of Blackburn will be enough to get them over the line. Hammond hasn't fired for a little while. I think he might get into it this afternoon.
And that does it for Premier Division. Moving on to Division 1, full slate of games across all divisions. Bayswater taking on East Ringwood. Bayswater with a win over Park Orchards last week. East Ringwood down by Mooralbark, who have been hitting some form the last few weeks. Davo, your pick.
I have gone this week with 5 coin tosses.
Yeah,
it's the coin toss division, isn't it?
If you have a look at these 5 games, Bayswater, East Ringwood, very difficult to choose on form. I'm going Bayswater at Bayswater. And then if you look through the rest, they are all toss of the coin games, and which is what you want in the division. You don't want a team standing up and being dominant and a team not being able to win. So Baysy at Baysy, East Ringwood been a little bit disappointed in the last couple of weeks.
I didn't think at the start of the season, Steve, that I'd be seeing East Ringwood in the bottom 3 of Division 1. That's disappointed me greatly, because I know Marcus has tried extremely hard to keep that side together and make it as competitive as possible. Bayswater, on the other hand, they're a little bit of an unknown quantity. If the Galvins get going, Bryce and Mitch, they're nearly unstoppable. And McInerney always around those goals. Right, he's a goal sneak. I'm going to tip Bayswater at home this afternoon.
Okay, moving on to Doncaster East and Lilydale rematch of last year's grand final. Donny East top of the table. Lilydale 5-0 to start the season, haven't won since round 6.
No, and the coin toss went up. It just hit the coin, and Donny East at home will be too strong for Lilydale.
Lilydale's form has just dropped off completely at the moment. I don't know whether that's because of injury or not, but they're not getting enough out of their players. Doncaster East, when you look at their side on paper, it's a Premier Division side, and at the moment they're playing like it, and they will get the points this afternoon.
And you brought up an interesting stat on EFL Sunday last week, Brash. Lilydale are averaging, I think, about 55 points a game, just not kicking big enough scores to be competitive.
No, they're not.
Yep. So, moving on to Upper Ferntree Gully. Park Orchards losing to Baysy last week. Upper Ferntree Gully doing Knox.
Yeah, and Upper Ferntree Gully have come good the last couple of weeks and have shown why we thought they would be a lot better than what they were shown earlier on in the season. Maybe it's because of injury, getting a few players back. They look like they've got a couple of good runners back into their side. Park Orchards have been pretty competitive and pretty solid right through the year, I think. I've liked the way they've gone about it. The only thing about Park Orchards is that they've had a lot of changes the last couple of weeks. They've had 5 and 6 in and out both weeks, which, whether it's form or injury, I'm not 100% sure. I'm going Upper Ferntree Gully at home because I think they play that ground, Kings Park, very well.
And it's always a low-scoring affair up at Upper Gully. That ground really does pull down the what you would call the averages, Steve, right throughout the season. As Joel Perry has quoted, this is a really important month for them, just so that they can find some momentum. So far, they've done exactly everything right, and I think they might just get another win this afternoon. Park Orchards, like I said, it worries me when you're constantly making so many changes to the lineup.
Moving on to Knox and Wani South. Knox not having the greatest of seasons. One Turner South for mine, though, probably the more disappointing team in this division so far this year.
I think both have been disappointing. Yeah. Both have won teams that I thought that would be a lot stronger, a lot more consistent. One Turner South also have the downside in that Luke Williams is out for the remainder of the year, and he's a superstar of the competition. And we saw in the radio game against Croydon that he was able to get them back in, and when he can play in any position. Huge loss for them. At Knox, I'm going with Knox. I don't have anything to base it on apart from the fact they're at home.
This is just going to be one dour struggle for mine. Neither side can really hurt, can hit you on the scoreboard. You know, when they kick, they don't kick. They can't even kick the winning average score in a division of 80 points to win a game of football. It's going to be a low-scoring affair, and only because it's at Knox, I'm tipping them.
And final game in Division 1. For me, this is probably the game of the round for me. Croydon, the form team of Division 1. Murrelbach, 3 wins in a row.
Yes, and if you'd said 5 weeks ago this was going to be the match of the round, you'd be going...
Yeah, you'd be laughed out of here.
You're kidding, don't you? But you're right, Murrelbach have been really solid. 3 wins and a draw in the last 5. Croydon have been solid. They were fantastic against Swanee South in the radio game, but then they've been a little bit hit and miss.
But they still won though.
They have. So I'm going for Croydon because I just like the way that they've been playing their footy. I like the way they transition from defence to the forward line. And I think at home they're going to be too good.
I think legitimately, Steve, at this stage of the season, Croydon, with their mix of experience and youth, are the only side that can possibly challenge Doncaster East at this stage. Good to see Murrelbach with a good running vein of form. But I just think overall, Croydon deserve to start favourites in this game, and I think they win. And it'll be interesting to hear what Penn Knight says when she gives us their ground report this afternoon.
Yes, Morris D'Alessandro's men hitting some form this year. Moving on to Division 2, obviously Heathmont and Mitcham, your game of the day, which will kick off from 2 o'clock this afternoon. But we move over to Ringwood and the base, and Ringwood with quite a good win over Mitcham last week.
Yes, and Ringwood have surprised me. I thought that they would struggle this year with the loss of the key players. But Brett has done a magnificent job with them. They've readjusted, they've realigned what they've done. They've opened up their forward line. They've become a little bit more unpredictable in the way that they go forward. And they've got some players playing some good footy. They will be too strong for Basin, who are just not quite at the level yet.
No.
And maybe that's because of a few injuries as well.
Interesting though, Steve, the Basin actually are one of the very few sides that play very well at Jubilee Park. But they don't kick enough goals to kick a winning score. Ringwood, they've got multiple goal kickers to replace Farmer, and obviously they've been able to cover the loss of power, and they've done it in good style since that early season hiccup, and I think they will once again prevail this afternoon.
Moving on to 7th playing 8th, Mulgrave taking on Scoresby at Mulgrave.
Yeah, well, look, this is an opportunity for Scoresby, I suppose. They've looked at it. They've struggled. We've spoken about it every week. They've struggled in the one area, and the one area is they're not able to score. Looking at their changes, it's not like they've found a forward that they've been able to bring in. Mark Williams comes back into the side, and he'll certainly give them something up forward if he plays there. I would imagine he will.
Got to play somewhere, don't he?
Yeah, Mulgrave, look, they haven't been terrible. They're getting a little bit better as they go along. I think they probably, at Mulgrave, will be too good for Scoresby.
Howell and Gladman come back into that side for Mulgrave today, but they lose
Henderson.
They lose Henderson, but look, this is Scoresby's only chance to win a game. Mulgrave, look, they've been really competitive, but once again, they're only good for about 2.5, 3 quarters, but today they might get a nice win here.
And the final game in Division 2, Templestowe versus Boronia. 2 teams for mine that have been pretty inconsistent this year. So flashes of brilliance and then flashes of very ordinary.
Yeah, and when we had the radio game against them, it was Templestowe at Templestowe.
Yeah, round 3, yeah.
And they were fantastic the way they performed against Boronia. But since then, both sides have been really hard to work out what they're doing. And again, I'm going to go for Templestowe at Templestowe purely because Boronia just haven't been able to, at this stage, tell me that they've got a side that's going to kick a big enough score. And I think Templestowe can lock them down with their role players.
I might go the opposite way. I just thought that with so much experience coming out recently, they've had so many injuries, but now starting to come back into the side for Boronia. I think they're just about ready to start putting their best foot forward again. I agree, Templestowe's not a ground that you if you can get a win down there, to me that's an 8-point game, and I'm going to tip the Hawks this afternoon. But look, Templestowe back line is their strength.
And that does it for Division 2. Moving on to Division 3. First game up, South Belgrave, the dominant side, taking on Waverley Blues, who are in some good form, 2 wins on the trot, but you would think South Belgrave would have the win here.
Yeah, Waverley have been travelling nicely. I really like her. They've got a lot of good kids. They run well. They spread well. South Belgrave have been the dominant side, and at South Belgrave, probably that's why you're going to choose them. They've got to fall over eventually, and this is one of the games that I looked at that they might fall over, but I think they might get over the line.
Out of all the sides, I think in Division 3 in the second half of the season that has got plenty of upside, I think Waverley Blues offers that.
Yeah.
If they had been playing South Belgrave at home down at Smart Street, I would have picked them. But unfortunately, they're going to go up the mountain, and their away record hasn't been good this year. But South Belgrave, well, what can you say? They win by average 100 points a week. Well, there isn't a side at the moment that can get near them.
And moving on, Glen, Waverley Hawks and Ferntree Gully. Glen Waverley haven't had a win since round 4 over Churnside Park, and Ferntree Gully playing some pretty good footy this year.
Yeah, they have. Glen Waverley are a real disappointment. I thought they'd be a bit better. Ferntree Gully were very poor in the radio game that we had a couple of weeks ago. It was just, I couldn't believe they were side sitting second, but they've bounced back again. They're going to beat Glen Waverley Hawks this week, but it is a bit of a danger game for Ferntree Gully.
Well, yeah, they had a terrible game against South Belgrave, and then the week after they went scoreless in the first quarter, and I think Pete Farrell must be thinking, well, jeepers, what the hell's going on here? But they end up recording a good victory in the end. But I just think that this afternoon, Glen Waverley is showing why they still probably should be in the division downwards.
So we got a couple of minutes left on the show, so we'll get through the last few a bit quicker this time. Whitehorse Pioneers and Warrandyte. I'm
going Warrandyte just.
Yeah, Warrandyte for mine, Steve.
No worries. And last game, Donvale versus Churnside Park, as you would say, Brash, a bit of a fait accompli.
Yeah, Doncaster.
Donvale, yep, Donvale.
Donvale for me.
Yeah, Donvale too strong.
Yep. And moving on to Division 4, our last 4 games in the Eastern Football League this afternoon, Coldstream and Surrey Park out at Coldstream.
Match of the round, and this is a chance for Surrey to cement in the finals. I think Coldstream have got too many injuries. Surrey will win.
Yeah, I'm going to go Surrey. The first time I'm feeling bullish on them.
And Fair Park hosting Croydon North. Fair Park coming off that thrilling loss to East Burwood last week.
A game they should have won, but they'll win this week.
Yep. They'll certainly win.
Forest Hill hosting East Burwood.
Big chance for Forest Hill, but I don't think they'll be able to get over East Burwood.
No, East Burwood for mine.
And the final game, Kilsyth and Nunawading. Both teams have a chance to win this, I would view.
I'm going to go for Nunawading in this game at Kilsyth. I think Kilsyth played well, but I'm going to go for Nunawading.
Nunawading for mine.
Okay, well that does it. Sylvan, of course, have the bye in Division 4.
They probably didn't want the bye too, Sylvan, because they were going really well up until then.
Yes, well, that does it here for the EFL pre-game show here on SEN 1377 SEN Plus. Thanks to both Brett Davidson and Wayne Brasher. You'll hear them on the other side of this break. And the match of the round as we bring you Heathmont taking on Mitcham out here at HE Parker Reserve. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with the seniors game right after this.
And you're clear.
Award-winning Crunch Time this morning from...
Yep.
Target's mid-season event is now on with 20% off kids' denim jeans. That's 20% off a huge range of kids' denim jeans at Target. Offer ends June 26. Exclusions apply.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
Ready to go your own way in an Isuzu Ute D-Max or MUX? Then come down our way to Frankston Isuzu Ute. Hi, Gordon Rose, inviting you to come see us in Wells Road, Seaford, opposite Cannonook Station. We're a locally owned family business with years of experience who look after our customers. We offer good trade-ins, have great finance and want your business. So for work, for play or getting the family around, make it an Isuzu Ute from Frankston Isuzu Ute, Wells Road, Seaford, LMCT 10901.
Hello. Concrete Fusion is the very latest range of 2019 National Floor tiles to take the market by storm. And National Tiles have gate-crashed the market on this all-new range of $40 floor tiles at an unbeatable $19.95. Yes, that's right. The all-new $40 Concrete Fusion National Floor tiles at an introductory price of just $19.95 per metre. Available in-store now or shop online 24/7 at nationaltiles.com.au.
The only thing I would think about is who I'd be buried next to. I mean, that would matter to me.
Well, that's pre-planning because you'll need to get the plots next to each other.
Yeah, that's true. They're good conversations to have, aren't they? Because they give you a reference point if you've had no clear instruction or conversation.
Have an open and honest conversation. Celebrate your life the way you want, like I did, with a fixed price funeral plan from Tobin Brothers Funerals. The price doesn't change and your life will be celebrated your way. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Only 19 shots from 53 inside 50s, down on clearances and can't lay a tackle. What was the seniors coach going to do? Jono surprised himself and everyone else. The spray he gave the boys at halftime worked. Well, he did finish it by saying he'd shout them a post-game feed and frothies at Eastland if they won. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland, proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland, live real.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
This radio station endorses the commercial radio codes of practice, which have been registered by the Australian Broadcasting Authority. The codes relate to taste and decency, accuracy and fairness in news and current affairs, advertising, Australian music content and complaints handling. Copies of the codes are available by contacting this radio station or Commercial Radio Australia on 02 9281 6577. If you feel a code of practice has been breached and you wish to register a complaint, your complaint should be made in writing. See the complaints section at sen.com.au.
Hi, Craig Lowndes here. It doesn't matter whether I'm belting around a racetrack.
1 minute.
Down to the local shops with a family. There's always a lot riding on my tyres. And while I don't choose the tyres for my race car, I do choose Tyre Power to look after the tyres on my family car. Tyre Power give me absolute peace of mind with expert advice, a great range of big tyre brands to choose from, and the very best service. Yet more reasons why I get the power at Tyre Power. Seriously? Why would you buy your tyres anywhere else?
At Melbourne Airport.
Are you guys putting this on, are you streaming the video today?
Makes it easy.
I just can't find it for some reason on your page. Okay, that's why.
A for...
Yeah, no worries.
Cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes, and everything in between. Melbourne Airport.
All right, coming up to 5 seconds.
Sport.com.au.
The Kids Edition. Footy for Kids with Daisy Pearce. Sunday from 8 on SEN.
It's time for the match of the round. Let's cross to our team and go local for your footy.
Okay, I'm going to put mics on now. And go. Go for it.
Welcome back here, the SEN Plus 1377 EFL Game Day, live from H.E. Parker Reserve out here in Heathmont. We're bringing you Heathmont taking on Mitcham in this Division 2 clash, one of 22 games across the Eastern Football League this afternoon as you go local for your footy. We'll be on the air all this afternoon. Don't forget, at 5 o'clock we'll have the post-game show with Damien Watson from the SEN studios, bringing you all the scores and results from around the Eastern Football League. And tomorrow, EFL Sunday returns at 10 o'clock. Join BWS and the crew as they break down all the weekend's results and have a few of the interviews from some of the winning coaches. And we're about set for the main game here between Heathmont and Mitcham, so I'll go around and introduce the call team for this afternoon. Firstly, Dan Sensick, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Steve White, really looking forward to this clash. Both sides sitting 6 and 3 at the moment. Should be an absolute cracking contest. That centre square here at H.E. Parker Reserve's the big question mark this afternoon. You can really tell who's played well and who's played average at the end of a game if you come off looking clean.
Well, it reminds me of Subi Oval in the 90s where it rained so much and it was so muddy they just bracked out the spray paint. It exactly looks like what's happened there. But we are Brett Davidson, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Steve. Yes, Dan, looking forward to this game, and you're right, we've watched the reserves game and it was like there was something evil in that green-black patch because nobody went anywhere near it. They just kept going around it, and I think you'll find today that's exactly the way they'll play. They'll push around it because when it gets in there it is very, very heavy.
And also on special comments this afternoon, Wayne Brasher.
Good afternoon, Steve, and good afternoon, listeners. And yep, great contest in store for us this Saturday afternoon on AFL Game Day.
All right, so we're about 5 minutes, I think, from the centre bounce. We'll just go around the panel and get some quick tips and previews, starting with you, Dan.
Yeah, look, as I said, intriguing clash coming up. Mitcham needing to bounce back. As we said, they started the season in really good form. They had a couple of down weeks there, but they'll be keen as mustard to get back on the winners list. Having said that, they've got a huge hurdle to overcome today in Heathmont. And looking at that lineup, I know it was mentioned in the pre-game that the Heathmont have got a number of younger players running through that side, and it's going to be tough for the Tigers today. I'm going to go the Jets, but I think it's going to be fairly close. 12 points for mine.
Davo?
Yeah, I'm going with Heathmont. I think the inclusion of Brown for his second game, Naina coming back into the side, the ability off for them, I think they'll be a little bit stronger over the contest. English is going. We haven't spoken about him, but we know what he can do. And
loves
I know
these conditions too.
Yeah, I know he can turn games still at his age, and I know I say at his age, it's not like he's 45, but his ability, I think they'll be able to hurt Mitcham today by stopping their outside run. So Heathmont for mine.
And Brash?
Yeah, look, I'll go with the rest of the panel. I think Heathmont might be just a little bit too strong today, Steve.
Now, we are in round 10. We're on over the halfway mark of season 2019. Do we start talking about finals in both of these two teams in terms of the picture?
Well, they're definitely both. I think they are in the finals contention, both these sides. So there's a possibility that these two sides could actually meet up in a final series.
I think it's definite. I think both of them will make it. I think they're both good enough to get in there, and I think Ringwood are pretty strongly going to feature right up in the top area, and I think these two could be fighting out third and fourth, or it could even be second.
Yep.
So that's why we're looking forward to the contest today.
And we're just about ready for action to commence here in the centre square at H.E. Parker Reserves. We talked about waterlogged, mudlogged to say the least. But otherwise pretty good conditions for footy. The rain has stopped, even though you can see some dark clouds over there at the foot of the Dandenongs. But the rain has stopped. Not much of a breeze to speak of.
Good crowd here too.
Yeah, very good crowd. Obviously, we didn't get a chance to talk about the renovations occurring at Heathmont, but to bring us in is Dan Sensick.
And we're underway here at H.E. Parker Reserve. Catch all the action live on 1377 SEN Plus and simulcast on 98.1 Radio Eastern. Ball goes up. It's a scrimmage and the umpire calls for it again. So Rucks go at it once again. Gordon for Mitcham. Heavy presence there, but it's English bursting through. High up and under kick out wide to the wing. Bouncing ball, not favourable to anyone really. Tapped on there. Can the Jets mount a charge forward? But the Tigers through Uren. Clever look away handball. And now high tackle there it seems. High tackle on Ryan Young, and he's going to take the free kick at half forward.
He's been a good young kid this year.
So moves it on very quickly. Emily pops it inside forward 50 and hits Finn Brown on the chest.
Just the experience there of Emily, just hovered around Ryan Young.
Lowered the eyes and just hit him up absolutely beautifully. And you're right, Brash, that is Premier Division experience there shining through. So Finn Brown played a bit with the Northern Blues this year and is really impressed. But Heathmont have really relished in having him back as he comes in to kick for goal. And the kick is away to the left through for a minor score. So Heathmont draw first blood. One behind. Mitcham yet to score on the Eastland scoreboard.
And that was his problem last week, as they said pre-match. He kicked 4-7 last week. So let's hope that he gets enough shots at goal to improve that percentage.
Yeah, just third game back for Finn Brown. As he does just get straight into the action there and smothers the kick out of defence.
Lets him know all about it too.
And well, that's the form that got him into the Northern Blues, and great stuff there from Finn Brown.
Gee, I wish you'd look at a lot of coaches saying, I wish their forwards worked that hard all the time. That was sensational.
So boundary throw in here, 1:48 played here in this first term out here at H.E. Parker Reserve. Naina tried to get the tap out. It's an in contest and gets locked up, and we'll have yet another ball up.
Young Jesse Uren's got the job on Kyle Emley. It's a big call.
So in comes the ball up, slapped out there by Mitcham. It comes loose on the deck. It's gathered in there by Glossop. He got a pretty mongrel kick, and trying to gather that one in was Michael Pert. Managed to pump back into the forward line. That mark taken there by Joel Merritt. And he's directly in front, 50 from home. Puts this one short, stabbing pass in the direction of Young. Can't take it on the first grab, gets it on the second. Shoots a hand pass out. In comes the shot at goal. May not have the journey. It does in the end. I'm not sure who kicked it. I think that might have been... No, it wasn't English. It was young Stevens, I think. And the Heathmont Jets get their first major. Excuse me, that was Ryan Burley. His second of the year. And Heathmont, 1-1-7. They lead Mitcham yet to score.
Yeah, great play, wasn't it, Brash?
It was really good. They really worked hard there, Heathmont, when the ball got clear in the midfield to get hold of it and drive it back into their inside 50. And once again, they didn't waste that opportunity and hit a player and made sure that the target was there.
Well, there's a man down in the middle of the ground for Heathmont. I can't quite seem to see who that was, but he's taking his time to get up. He looks to be in a fair bit of pain, could just be winded.
Trey Brioni, I think.
Yeah, Trey Brioni.
Yeah.
Well, he's not happy about something here, Brioni, because...
English is having to separate him from...
Yeah. Normally a player doesn't remonstrate that much unless he feels that there's some been unjustly done there.
So we'll play on anyway. Ball goes up. Tigers win the tap down through Gordon, and that's looking like coming back. Brioni once again has a crack at Gordon. Fiery clash this one very early on. Both sides with a lot to play for. Gordon once again slaps it forward. Winterton. And the Tigers go inside forward 50. Average looking kick though, and chopped off by Pert. Pert just moves it straight along across the ground, bouncing ball. They're under a fair bit of pressure here, the Jets. Tui, hot on his opponent's hammer there, and the boundary line beats all comers. Ambrose sees it over the line.
If you're going to switch the footy, you've got to make sure you hit your target, and especially on a ground like this where you can transfer back into the forward line really easy on a turnover.
So can the Tigers create something out of this forward 50 entry? McCubbin,
kick, I think,
wrapped up in the tackle and a free kick, and it's going to go the way of English, I think.
Mitcham are trying to get physical very early on Heathmont just to try and upset their game plan, but it's not working.
So Emily to take the free kick in the back pocket. He's just going to wait up for his best option. Now looks inboard. Good looking kick, finds Savoury.
Is that over the mark?
Yeah, I think it was. Yep.
Or he's
reversed it, and it's going to come back to, I think it's McCubbin, James McCubbin. So he's going to have a shot at goal for the Tigers first of the afternoon. I didn't quite see why that was reversed.
I'm a little bit perplexed by that as well.
It may, it's something off the ball, I would assume.
Yeah, that would be the only thing.
So a fair bit in this clash early as James McCubbin for the Tigers first of the afternoon. He'll kick from about right on the arc. He's had a good season so far, James McCubbin. Kicks right from the paint, pops it up. Has it got the carry? No, it doesn't, but at the front of the pack there is West. Tried to get a boot to it. And all wrapped up. Last line of defence. We'll see a ball up.
Good defence there by Heathmont.
Every player in the forward half of the ground.
Under 12 style. So ball goes up. Gordon snap around the corner. Chopped off by English though, and he's just going to take his time here and play on as he looks to the outer side of the ground, and there's been a whistle.
I think it's gone through for a behind, is it? No. He's given a free. Is he given a free kick?
Well, that would explain why everybody stopped at the time and why English had so much time deep in defence to clear the footy, but it looks like it's going to come back.
Yeah, looks like Barsramov is going to get his first touch.
Decla. Matty Decla.
So Matt Decla on the last line of defence. Finds Emily in the back pocket. Uses the footy so well, Kyle Emily, as we've seen. Goes wide. That wasn't his best kick. Ball too wide, out of bounds. Let's go down to Ben Warren Smith for car sales.
Yeah, it's great to be down here on the deck of H.E. Parker. There's not a breath of breeze down here today, gents, so should be pretty even. Stephen, the surface is actually in pretty good nick as well. Confusion aplenty with those last couple of decisions. I've asked the brethren. No one has a clue with those last two calls.
Thanks for that insight. BWS clear as mud and clear as the centre square as that kick comes in towards the 50, and a pretty easy uncontested mark there for Carson McCartney. Inside his own arc, just goes in short, and they play on quickly now here through Rudd. Rudd puts this one on the left, shocking kick. It just grub it along the ground though. Kicked up by McCubbin, turns the corner, puts it onto the right boot, and he meets the lead there of Jesse Smith as he puts a short stabbing pass on, but it's chopped off, and well read there by Ryan Young. And that attack, good movement up the field there from Mitcham, but they cancelled that one out. Here comes the kick right to back to where it came from. Brown had the front spot for Heathmont, couldn't take it. Picked up off the deck. Here's a handball in. Players collide. English plays the hip and shoulder. Trying to take that one on the bounce. There was Carroll. Can't get a clean touch. Tries to barge through three Heathmont players. Looks like he may have won himself a free kick, and he has. And Carroll's going to take this one dead in the centre of the ground.
Amazing. They headed for the mud patch and then did a full 180.
His short kick finds Jesse Uren. We're in the red boots, soon to be brown after about 5 minutes. Here's the kick now. His short pass finds a teammate there in Jake Toohey. He kicks one in towards the forward line. Players fly up. It's a loose footy on the deck. Grabbing it there is Bailey Stevens. Pushed off it by Gordon. Gordon's met solidly, dragged to the ground. Great tackle. And looks like we're going to have a ball up right on the arc here. Mitcham forward attacking side of the ground.
So you can see already, as soon as Mitcham get the ball, they all spread wide. All right, all of them spread wide as soon as they get the footy.
So a swarm of players around the footy as the Tigers just look to clear it and create a score out of this. But the Jets are bruisey. Here he is. Handball over the top. Oh. Loose ball. The Tigers can surge forward now up towards the square. 1-on-2 situation for the Tigers. And it looks like Smythe looks to win out in the long sleeves. Goes across the ground and hits up a target. And that's Uren at centre half forward. Moves it on very quickly. Pumps it long. Looking for McCubbin, I think it is. Front spot. Can't take the mark. And now the Jets under a fair bit of pressure to clear. Irvine sees it over the line and out of bounds.
Well, you can see with every player basically now, not even in the forward 50, in the forward, what do you call it, quarter of the ground.
Yep.
So Gordon of the Matthew variety for Mitcham wins the front position, and it looks like it's going to go out of bounds again. 9.5 minutes gone on the Eastland scoreboard. 1-1-7 the Jets. Mitcham yet to score, Brash.
It almost resembles like Pagan's Paddock a little bit here with Emily and all their side pushing up the ground and then hoping to hit Mitcham on the turnover.
Well, the player further closest to the Heathmont goal is Finn Brown, and he's on the wing. So it's quite a directive there to push up.
It always seems to happen in these wintry sort of conditions. Always numbers around the contest, so they don't want to give any easy ball out.
Well, it's going to be tough for Mitcham to score out of this, given the congestion inside their forward 50 as the ball's tossed back into play. Gordon wins it down. He's brought down in the tackle by the Heathmont man there on that occasion. I think that's West. And we'll see another ball up. I get the feeling there'll be plenty of stoppages today.
Yeah, and the other difficulty with this is the free kick that just comes out of nowhere in these situations.
So on hands and knees, Gordon, I think it is once again. Matthew Gordon, and we'll see another ball up inside 50 for the Tigers. Jets look to clear. English just dispossessed of the footy. And now once again, Bryony wrapped up in the tackle. We'll see another ball up. So nearly at the 11-minute mark, just the one goal kicked for the day. Jets once again look to repel. English loves these conditions. Little grubber kick along the ground, and boundary line beats Uren on that occasion. We'll see another ball in.
Admittedly, though, Mitcham have done well to keep the ball locked in their forward 50. They're going to have to they need to try and score out of this.
So in comes the boundary throw, about 35 metres out here from the Mitcham goal. Gordon tried to get a hand to it, tried to clearing the kick out there. Did Young, and looks like we've got a free kick here going the way of
Holding
Heathmont. Yeah,
Bailey Stevens.
So Stevens with the free kick. He puts this onto the right boot. Up now here to Savoury. Swings this one across the ground. Plenty of players out there, but it's a one-on-one contest in the end. Smith now takes the mark, loses his footing. Pressure applied there by Van Leeuwen. He gets shoved off the footy, and we got another free kick. Looks like Van Leeuwen got one up high, and he's got himself a free kick now on the half-back flank.
He nearly made a meal of it, Van Leeuwen, too.
So his short kick up the wing. Well, that split, they're looking for the target, Abruzzi, and looks like it's gone over. Jake Tui escorts it over for Mitcham. We'll have a boundary throw in.
So far, been a bit, the disposal on both sides going forward has been pretty poor at the moment. So it's only been the class players who've been able to use the ball well.
Tess Rorke's in there for Heathmont, but gets beaten to it. Here comes the kick in towards the forward 50 now here for Mitcham. It's punched over the line and for a boundary throw in just inside the arc, and we'll have a boundary throw in. 12-18 played here in this first term. Heathmont 1-1-7 leading Mitcham yet to score. And let's go boundary side with VWS.
Both sides have had a lot of changes in this first 12 minutes or so in this first term, hitting about double figures at the moment. The ball doesn't look too heavy. We know that the middle of the ground looks a bit of a bog, but it's also not too bad also. So the skill should be there as Mitcham line up for a shot on goal.
Thanks, BWS. And looks like Zach Carroll's picked himself up a free kick. Not sure what that was for. And umpire spotted something. So Carroll, he's going to line up. Set shot about 35 out. Slight angle. Chance to kick Mitcham's first major of the afternoon. The kick is across the face and just the minor score. That's the Tigers' first score of any kind this afternoon. One behind. They trail Heathmont by 1-1-7. 13 minutes played here on the Eastland scoreboard.
You can't afford to miss shots like that, which are quite easy on this ground. They're the real gettable kicks, and when the ball's been in your forward 50 for so long, you don't miss them.
Well, Pert plays on and just pumps it long out wide to the wing. Nobody able to really get clean purchase on it. Now the Mitcham man's brought down by 2 Jets, and we'll see a ball up. 6 points the margin on the Eastland scoreboard. 13.5 minutes gone. Rucks go at it again. No one able to get a clean tap. They go inside forward 50 or up towards 50 again. The Tigers, but chopped off there by Bailey Stevens as he moves it on very quickly. Risky kick. And that's going to be 25 as well. I'm not sure what
over
that
the
was
mark,
for.
I think, yeah.
There's been a few Tiggy touch wood free kicks given away early on. It'll just be a product of the conditions. Ball moved up to the wing. Van Leeuwen marks in front of McCubbin, then moves it on up towards centre half forward. The fly from behind came from Gordon. The contact over the shoulder, and it's going to be a Heathmont free kick.
Naina.
It's going to be taken by Chris Naina at centre half forward, so he'll take his time. He looks like he's fancying himself from here anyway.
He just jumped that little bit early, Gordon, and just mistimed that punch.
Well, he moves it on and goes to Rourke on the flank.
And I can't believe the umpires haven't seen Emily put down before that contest then.
So Rourke's kick in the Finn Brown direction. He flies, couldn't take the mark. And we'll see a ball up inside 50 for the Jets. Gee, what a fly that was from Finn Brown if he could have brought that one down. So ball up once again, a Bruiser to do the rucking, and it was a shove out. Clear as day right there, so Carroll to take it. Moves it on very quickly, and the Tigers go through Marrow, who's under a fair bit of pressure. Uren, handball and a shove. It's going to go the way of Mitcham once again.
Don't know about that one.
They want to move it on, the Tigers, but the umpire's saying to bring it back. Everybody stops, so Uren to take the free kick. Sorry, that's Hallow. Hallow goes backwards. Got a man back now. This is Nicholas. Play on call by the umpire. He goes wide out towards the flank. Carroll twisting and turning, unable to get a handball, but does eventually. Rudd, and put his team out under a fair bit of pressure. Ambrose sees it over the line.
I can understand why you're getting those Uren and Hello mixed up, because they both go to the same barber. Well, they don't go.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Long sleeves as well.
So in comes the boundary throw, dead on centre wing. Gordon tried to fist that one forward. It's finally kicked forward here by the Tigers in towards the forward 50. And a good strong mark taken there by Ambrose. And he switches the play across the face of goal here to collect Eckler. takes the mark, puts it onto the right boot. Short tabbing pass was a bit of a poor one. Well read there by Van Leeuwen. Gets a handball out. Intended there for Abruzzi. But he's about 2 steps behind the play, and Mitcham get to it first. It's wrapped up. We'll have a ball up.
Van Leeuwen there tried a 30-metre handball, and I think it only went about 15.
The Greg Williams special.
Yeah.
By 50%. As in comes the ball up. Naina wins the tap. Rourke can't take it cleanly. But we've got a free kick off the ruck. And I think it's going the way here of Rourke. Yes, it is. So Tommy Rourke in the familiar long sleeves assesses the scene in front of him. Decides to pump this one long in towards half forward. Naina couldn't take it cleanly. He gets wrestled to the ground. It's a loose footy. Running onto it there is West. And the ball, well, I thought was going to be escorted over the boundary line, but Abruzzi ends up in the tackle. We're going to have a ball up.
It's a pity we don't have a sponsor for stoppages today.
Actually, Tommy Rourke's looking a lot fitter and a lot more mobile this year than he has in recent years. Maybe he's just been able to overcome some of those injury problems he's had in the last 2 years.
So Gordon v Naina in the ruck, run up there by English. He gets a quick boot to ball and kicks it in towards the half-forward line. Plenty of players there as Rudd is the recipient of 2 tacklers, and we'll have another ball up here on the half-forward flank.
Even though the ball won't be muddy, it looks like it's slightly heavier than normal, purely because they're just not getting the distance on their kicks.
No. Minor blood rule here.
Yeah, Jordan Haynes being...
Just a bit of blood on the knee.
A bit of blood on the hands never hurt no one, as the super coach used to say, is Abruzzi v Gordon.
Free kick to Gordon there.
English wants to get on with it. And, it's going to Gordon, and looks like he's lost about 30% of his jersey there. And here comes the kick now. High up and under in towards centre wing. Plenty of Heathmont players there, but it finally comes to ground level. Quick handball. Kicked out now and taken by the mark by Cam Osborne. English gets a quick handball over the top. Emily's got to be quick. A nice handball by him. It's run just inside the boundary line and well roved. It's great tackle applied there by Osborne. And he's finally been paid. And I think that was Jesse Uren on the receiving end of that. And we're going to have a free kick here right on the arc. Looks like English is going to take this one.
And Heathmont moves the ball. They're moving it a lot better with a bit more structure into their forward 50, Davo.
Yeah, Mitcham are just bombing it forward every single time.
So the free kick there was actually out on the full. Just came off the leg before it went over the boundary line. So here's English. He kicks it into the centre, running. And going back with the flight there was Rudd. He manages to get a handball out. And the Tigers move this one out of defence, high up and under, but it's all Heathmont on the far side of the ground. And uncontested mark as they play on now. Here's a kick inside the forward 50. Target is Abruzzi, and he takes a good strong mark in front of Rudd. And he'll line up from about 35 out, hugging the boundary line, looking for Heathmont's second major.
This is a tough kick. He'll put it to the top of the square, I would imagine.
Yeah, this is the kick that you do, put it to a square.
So we're approaching time on here in the first term. Heathmont 1-1-7, leading Mitcham single behind. So Abruzzi puts it onto the right boot, and it does go to the top of the square. Plenty of players flying in the contest, and it's fisted through for just one behind. So that moves Heathmont 1-2-8, leading Mitcham one behind as we approach time on the Eastland scoreboard in the first term.
That was probably a little bit deep, that kick. He needed it to be a little bit more to the top of the square so they couldn't defend it through the points as easy as what they did then.
Well, around the grounds, the Whitehorse Pioneers have got the early jump on Warrandyte 3-1-19. The Pioneers to the Bloods 1-1-7 in slippery and soft conditions. So we'll hear all about that one from Davis Harrigan later on today. As the ball out wide, out on the wing, and there's a free kick. It's going to go the way of Mitcham. So once again...
So 25 there? No.
So Jesse Cherry to take it. And that'll be 25.
Yeah, spoke too soon there, Brash.
Put down by Kyle Emley, and the umpire, no tolerance for that.
Well, you don't want to see your coach doing that either. I mean, that's not setting a good standard for the rest. A silly mistake like that one.
Well, it sets up the Tigers now, and they've got a little bit of time left to register a major in this quarter to just level things up a bit as the ball hits McCubbin, or rather Carroll, on the chest at half forward. And what's he going to do? There's nothing really to kick to. It's a very difficult position he finds himself in, so he'll just pop it up to the square, looking for the ruckman in Gordon, but front position.
And that's been the problem. They've been Heathmont are allowing Mitcham to go out wide, letting him have the kick out wide and then blocking everything down the middle, and that's been Mitcham have not been able to get the ball inside their forward 50 on a short lead yet.
So Stevens at half back, just going to eat up a few seconds here, you'd think, and just pops it down the wing. 2-on-1 situation. Beautiful punch over the line though by Glossop. And we'll see a throw in. 21 and a half minutes gone. Opening term. Heathmont 1-2-8. Mitcham 1 behind. A lot of stoppages this term if you're just joining us. Not a lot of scoring going on. Obviously very slippery conditions in the middle here at H.E. Parker Reserve as the ball's tossed back into play. The Jets look to mount another charge forward. Emily, clever handball, and they look to go forward again. Ball in the Abruzzi direction.
Great mark.
And he's been pinged for a shove out again.
That's a
And 25. Yeah, so you dropped the ball.
Lachlan Rudd shoved out there by Ben Abruzzi, and 25 metres for his trouble as well.
I don't know in the technical terms. I think he didn't. It wasn't a double hand motion. I think.
And another 25. It's all right. Sorry, David.
I think you're allowed to do that, but.
So Rudd up towards half forward. Awkward bounce. Stevens will look to gather now. Just paddles it in front of himself. Tries to spin his way out of trouble. And that ball's going nowhere. Umpire calls for it.
He actually played his players out of position then, Rudd, by playing on.
So in comes the ball up. Savory tried to win it off the ruck. Players converged. It looks like we got a whistle and a free kick going to Mitcham. And I think that was against Savory. Just trying to have a look, see on the replay if we have anything. No, I can't see what that's for. So anyway, it looks like.
Oh well, they've made a simple, easy goal out of it now. Someone having a bit of a back chat.
Then another 25. So Jackson Hello is going to move in from 5 metres out and surely kick the first of the afternoon for Mitcham, and he makes no mistake. And the Tigers on the board in the majors column. 1-1-7, they trail Heathmont 1-2-8, 23 minutes gone. Dan Sensick.
Well, first quarter out at the Balwyn and South Croydon clash, and it's Balwyn 2 straight 12 leading South Croydon 1 straight 6. So a low scoring encounter out there.
Both sides have been very undisciplined in the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, they've given 4 25s away in the last 5 minutes, Heathmont, and one of them's led to a goal. So that's something they will address at quarter time.
I think part of the problem is I think they're playing to the umpire's whistle and they can't predict what he's doing or what their interpretation's going to be because of how clogged the contest is.
So in comes the tap. Savory wins it out of the centre. Target is Abruzzi, but there is the siren to end the first term. And it looks like we got a free kick right on the siren. Looks like Ben Abruzzi's going to take it.
Let's have a look at that on the replay.
Holding on, I think.
Has it been pushed out? Or
He's held. Yeah. So it looks like Riley Nicholas, the offender on that occasion. So Ben Abruzzi, he's going to line up to potentially add to the score here for Heathmont in the majors column. He's going to kick from about 40 out, I would say, directly in front. And a chance for his first of the afternoon. Puts it onto the right, and that's going to fall well short and well wide. Not the kind of kick you want to end the quarter with. And the score line will remain unchanged. It's Heathmont 1-2-8 leading Mitcham 1-1-7 after 1 quarter of play. The lone goal of the game, sorry, from Heathmont to Ryan Burley, and Jackson Hallow, the lone goal kicker for Mitcham. You're listening to SEN 1377. We'll be back after the first quarter of play right after this.
India versus Afghanistan tonight.
And you're clear. 4 minutes.
I'm on. The real story as to what happened with Jaden Stevenson and his gambling. It was round 9 in the rooms at the MCG, and Jaden Stevenson made a passing comment to a teammate that another teammate had cost him his multi. The passing comment was made to Jeremy Howe. When he realised that Jaden Stevenson wasn't joking, it was then Howe who urged Stevenson to come forward.
Time on with Sam McClure. Weeknights from 6.
Ready to go your own way in an Isuzu Ute D-Max or MUX? Then come down our way to Frankston Isuzu Ute. Hi, Gordon Rose, inviting you to come see us in Wells Road, Seaford, opposite Cannonook Station. We're a locally owned family business with years of experience who look after our customers. We offer good trade-ins, have great finance and want your business. So for work, for play or getting the family around, make it an Isuzu Ute from Frankston Isuzu Ute, Wells Road, Seaford, LMCT 10901.
Decided to go with the mahogany with gold handles on the side and white roses. I think that should look really elegant.
I like how you can see it all.
Tobin Brothers Funerals' latest Memory Maker app gives you more choice than ever before. With the app's newest Build Your Own feature, you can now personalise your own coffin or casket. Choose the design, the colour, the handles, the drapery and flowers to match. Download Tobin Brothers Funerals' Memory Maker app from the App Store or visit tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
The senior coach has taken the team to Eastland for a post-game feed. If only they had this kind of teamwork on the field. They've just ordered starters to share, plus frothies for the whole table. And now Steve-O's chucked a prawn to Macca. He circled back. Yes! Straight into his pie hole. You beauty! Good form, boys. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland, proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland, live real.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
This season may be over, but the NBA action never stops. The stage is set on June 21 for the NBA draft. Watch and see.
Okay, I got coming up to 1.5. Are we doing Clint Stanaway at half time?
And catch the...
No worries, thank you.
To see who will take out this season's highest honours, the MVP, Rookie of the Year and more. Don't forget, with NBA...
Fantastic, I'll give him a call.
Awards and Summer League Live.
So we'll have him after the first break at half time.
Airport. You can get 1 hour terminal parking for just $12. It makes it easy to greet your loved ones when they come home or give them a proper send-off. You can also park for up to 3 hours for just $24 and 1 day for $51. That's cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes and everything in between, Melbourne Airport Parking is here to get you there. Visit melbourneairport.com.au.
Tyre Power is Australia's biggest independent tyre retailer, and right now they're having Australia's biggest independent stocktake sale, which means you have the power to save on Vulcan tyres. Buy 3 and get 1 free on a...
Coming up to 30 seconds.
It's buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Vulcan tyres, but only at Tyre Power. See website for details. Tyre Power's biggest ever stocktake sale is now on. Visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner operator.
Impress clients, friends and colleagues with a premium experience at the MCG. Whether it's your own private suite or a table in a premium space, enjoy award-winning catering and premium beverages at Melbourne's biggest sporting events. mcg.org.au/premium.
State of Origin, Game 2, this Sunday night live on 11:16.
Okay, here we go.
Let's head back and go local for your footy.
Okay, putting mics back on now. And go.
And welcome back. You're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. It's EFL game day here from H.E. Parker Reserve out here in Heathmont. I mean, after 1 quarter of footy, Heathmont lead Mitcham 128 to 117. Goal kickers for Heathmont and Mitcham. Heathmont, Ryan Burley with 1, and Jackson Hallow has the lone goal for Mitcham. Gentlemen, your assessment of that first quarter of play?
Oh, look, it was definitely a game of played, I suppose, predominantly in a lot of ways in Mitcham's forward 50, but every player in the forward 50 was there, so it made it a little bit difficult to get any clean space out. I thought Heathmont moved the ball a little bit better than what Mitcham did. Mitcham, I think Heathmont worked out we're going to go wide, and then they got caught wide, and their only way to go back in was to go long. And then I thought they were able to block it up pretty easily, Heathmont, but a lot of stoppages, a lot of ball in, so it was, not a pretty quarter of footy to watch.
I think, if anything, I think if there's one side I think that can take control of the midfield and that centre-to-centre line, it's Heathmont, because I just feel that they're able to switch the ball, and they're doing it a lot better than what Mitcham are doing. I just thought it sort of typified Rudd there. He got the 50-metre penalty, but he played on, and the players, he actually played his forwards out of position there. And when he kicked the ball didn't actually go to the right player.
Let's cross down to BWS, our car sales boundary rider.
Speaking with the sideline coach, a senior assistant coach, Andrew Gassmith. Gass, what was your take on that first term? It seemed like you were actually, your ball movement and your pressure was pretty good. The back line was working, but everyone seemed a little bit overexcited, or that type of situation.
100% overexcited. So I think we just cool the Jets. Like you can see, it's just these are two good sides going head and toe. So we just need to calm down. It's going to be an arm wrestle all day, and we just can't let the umpires control the game. We've got to control it.
Well, there was a lot of free kicks played in that first term for both sides. It was 9 and 8. So I think we just need to keep our mouths shut a little bit.
It's a simple game, footy, isn't it? Shut up and play the game.
Good luck.
Thanks, BWS. Here's Dan Senzik.
So ball up in the middle of the ground again as the Tigers get the first clearance of the second term through Cherry. Inside forward 50, bouncing ball. And this is Smythe. What can he create? He's got two Jets to beat, and now they look to repel. Wide to half-back English. Takes the mark, keeps it alive. They lead this one by a point, Heathmont, on the Eastland scoreboard. We'll be looking forward to adding a few more in these tough conditions to get a bit of a buffer happening. Looking for a bruisey kick into the middle of the ground as they try to spin their way out of trouble. The Tigers, Willenberg. Smythe in for another crack at it. Rather, it was Uren. And we'll see a ball up.
I think they got a Brutsy playing at centre half forward today, Dave. Just his strength, especially around the heavy conditions.
Yeah, it's not a bad move either.
So ball tossed up. Gordon wins the tap again. Carroll kick around the corner. Bouncing ball's going to go out of bounds. And how's that one going to be seen? If that was AFL football, that would have been called deliberate.
Oh, most definitely.
So for something different, we'll have another throw in. On the wing here at H.E. Parker Reserve. 1 minute gone in the second term. Heathmont by a point. Ball tossed in. No one able to get clean. Tap out on that occasion, but they win out on this occasion, the Tigers. They go inside forward 50. Driven into the turf. That was the Jets man by Cherry. The umpire said that was okay, and we'll see a ball up right on the arc for Mitcham. The Rucks go at it again. They win it again, the Tigers. Carroll high up and under kick up towards the top of the square. Two Jets go up, and Smythe will run into an open goal. And the Tigers hit the front. They go to 2-1-13. Heathmont 1-2-8 on the Eastland scoreboard. 2 minutes gone, second term.
The case of not talking to one another, isn't that the cardinal sin of football?
Well, look, it showed there they didn't talk to each other, and the Mitcham player just took advantage of the fact that the spillage. That's what you want your small forwards to do.
Exactly.
Did it perfectly, but that's a disappointing defensive blunder by Heathmont, especially when it looks like it's a pretty low-scoring game.
Well, it's not low scoring out at the Roeville game. They're 5-2-32 leading North Ringwood 1-6-12 at quarter time. So a handy lead early on for the Hawks there.
It's game over there, mate.
And out at Bayswater East Ringwood, it's Bayswater 4-2-26 leading East Ringwood 2-2-14.
Thanks, Dan, and keep those scores coming in throughout the afternoon. We'll catch all the scores after 5 o'clock here on SEN 1377 as the tap comes out now out of centre, trying to dig at the footy there is Bryony. He's pretty well wrapped up there by Willenberg, and we'll have a ball up in the centre square.
Gordon's having a fair influence on the contest in the middle at the moment.
So in comes the tap, and we've got looks like that was over the shoulder.
Yeah, his height's worrying, Savoury.
Here's the kick now in towards the forward line in the McCubbin direction. Can't take the mark cleanly. Might bounce favourably for him. He goes out off the ground and go out of bounds on the full. Idea was right, execution wasn't. And Heathmont will have a free kick now deep in the back pocket.
I think he's changed jumpers too, Gordon. I think he had a ripped jumper we saw.
Yeah.
I think he's now got number 13. Yeah.
So Ambrose will take the footy now here for Heathmont. Puts it onto the right boot in towards centre half back. Had to be strong there, but giving away a free kick there was Hallow. As Heathmont moved this up the ground, kicking that one up there was Burley, the goal kicker. It bounces now here looking for the footy. There was Coughlin, and it's going to be a ball up centre half forward now here for the Jets.
That's why you need it to go in clean, because then you don't allow the opposition then to flood back like they've been able to now.
Quick kick there from Haynes off the ruck. It bounces now here for Carroll. Gets a hand pass out. Now here comes the kick up towards centre wing, and an uncontested mark there for Willenberg. Just shy of centre wing. He puts the kick in towards centre wing. Gordon couldn't take the mark cleanly. It might stay in now here for Van Leeuwen. Did well, but it turned it straight over there to Smythe. He kicks this one in towards the forward line. One-on-one contest. Trying to soccer that one out of the air was Ambrose. Swing and a miss. But luckily the Jets clean up now here through Burley. And he puts this right back in towards centre half forward at the back. Looking for Bajramov. Couldn't take the mark. Mitcham moved this out now through centre wing. And a good mark going back with a flight there is Ben Irvine. And he cleans up now here for Heathmont. Thought about playing on. Told to now by the umpire. Got to be quick. Gets his kick away in towards centre half forward. And uncontested mark taken now here by Joel Merritt. Well, his kick was a shocker right into the man on the marks. Saved there by English. Gets a hand pass out now to Bryony. He goes back to go forwards. Here's Stevens. Stevens kick in towards the Abruzzi direction. And he's held out. And he's won himself a free kick.
In the exact same fashion as what he got late in that first quarter.
He's smart the way he does that, Abruzzi. Sometimes you can be held, and sometimes you can push your arm to the opponent and make them hold you. And he's a smart operator.
So Ben Abruzzi directly in front. Well, decides to go short instead, thought about it, and goes straight in the Finn Brown direction, who takes it right on the chest. And he'll line up from about 25 out slide angle.
Now, that's something that Mitcham have got to look at and say, why weren't we able to do that instead of going long? That was a really smart kick, but also they left a lot of space open for Brown to run into then.
So Finn Brown, who's kicked 9 on the year, in the kick 4-7 last week, looking for his first of the afternoon. Runs in, and well, he's really made a meal of that one, and it's just got himself the minus score. Looked a bit ugly off the boot, and that moves Heathmont to 139. They trail Mitcham to 113. 6 minutes played here on the Eastland scoreboard, second term.
I hope it's not playing on his mind the fact that he had a poor week last week with kicking, because that's what it looked like when he ran in.
Yeah, it certainly did. Ben Joseph brings it back into play.
Cross down.
Finds a man out wide. Let's cross down to Ben Moran-Smith for car sales.
Yeah, just on that, Davo, when he came in, he didn't actually kick through the ball as well. He knew he had the distance covered, and he sort of poked at it as well. Be confident, go back, slam it through.
So Winterton, short chip pass to Uren. At half back. They're on the back foot a bit here, the Tigers. They've just got nothing to kick to. Back to their original position in Joseph once again, who just pumps it out wide to the wing. Driving ball looking for McCubbin, and he spills the mark. An absolute soda right in front of the interchange gates there, and we'll see a ball in. It's Heathmont 1-3-9, trailing Mitcham 2-1-13. 7 minutes gone, second term on the Eastland scoreboard. And gee, you wouldn't be too impressed with that, Neil Winterton. So the ball tossed back into play. Gordon unable to get the tap. English now, handball over the top, and the Jets look to get some run going. This is Haynes, pumps it long inside forward 50. No one at home though, and it's fisted over the line for a throw in.
I think, as we've seen, Mitcham like to push out to the wings, use the space out wide. Problem is that when they get further up the ground, they've got nothing to go back into, and I think that's why Heathmont are allowing them to do that.
So throw in once again at the front position there beautifully. There was McCartney. English though wins the footy, snaps it around the corner. How's this one going to bounce? Bounces favourably there for Bajramov. He'll run into an open goal. Bajramov makes no mistake. Jets back in front.
That's the value of having the ball go in there quickly. It's the value of, it was like a dirty kick. It wasn't a great kick, but then take advantage of that bounce, and that's what they've been able to do. And I think they've looked better, Heathmont.
They have, and their forward line seems to be a little bit more open too for their forwards to run onto the ball. See, that play there by Mitcham, they actually conceded 20 metres by going backwards and across. You can't keep doing that all afternoon, because you're not going to get any reward for effort for that.
especially on this ground. You can move it along the boundary line all you like, but eventually you've got to go back into the middle of the ground, middle corridor, and Heathmont are just able to block that up far too easily.
So we're approaching 9 minutes played here in this second term on the Eastland scoreboard. 2 points the margin. The Jets back in front. Into the ruck it goes. Well read off the ruck there by Haynes. He puts it onto the right boot in towards the forward arc. Diving mark. And taken there, I think, by Emily. No, it's Ryan Young.
He's been good, and Haynes has been excellent this quarter out of the middle.
Cross down.
It's crossed down a boundary line to Car Sales boundary right of BWS.
Let's have a look at Trey Bryony, Leroy Green. Get a close-up at the back of his head. Best haircut in the league. Bleached Jets at the back of his scone. Unbelievable.
I thought it was a bandage.
Yeah. No. Well, your vision's better than mine.
It says Jets.
Excellent. We'll have to make sure Leroy Green gets a close-up of that one. In right, Ryan Young. It's kick 17 on the year. This for goal number 18. And it's just to the right. To one behind the score. And that extends Heathmont's lead to 3 points. 2-4-16. They lead Mitcham 2-1-13.
We might have to offer up a prize for best haircut in the AFL, I think.
Get rid of the Tobin Brothers goal of the day.
So ball out wide to half back. Abruzzi in there once again. Ball goes over the line again. Let's cross down to Ben Warren Smith for Car Sales.
We just saw that last shot on go through for a behind. I tell you what, there would have been a bit of uproar if it had gone through, because there was a massive knock of the goalpost there.
Yeah.
I was thinking exactly the same thing, Ben, then.
So Emily at the bottom of the pack, knocked off the footy, and now they win out here, the Tigers. West just gets a grubber kick, looking for Gordon, who's unable to take it. Gosbull is wrapped up in the tackle, and the umpire calls for the ball. They lead this one by 3 points, the Jets. 2-4-16 at Mitcham, 2-1-13. 10.5 gone on the Eastland scoreboard.
Was anyone climbing the goalpost? And it's swans all over again.
Well, we pray we don't have a situation like that this year in the EFL. There's been a whistle, and it looks like it's going to come back to the umpire. So ball up once again. And another whistle ensues. Naina and Gordon. Which way is this one going to go? And Gordon wins himself the free kick. Plays on straight away. Uren just pumps it up towards half forward. Mark taken there by Nicholas, who just chips it over the top. Looking for Tui. Tui pops it inside forward 50 and punched away there from Glanville. On that occasion, he's taken a while to get up. You think he might have jarred a knee or something. He's clutching that hamstring, isn't he?
He landed awkwardly there on his knee.
But again, pushed it wide. And they're quite happy for that to happen. You can see that they're trailing their forwards, allowing it.
So Gordon tosses it back in. Flying shot on goal from the Tigers. And that's through.
He's kicked it.
Tui.
It's Tui. So he's put the Tigers back in front. They go to 3-1-19. Heathmont 2-4-16. Nearly 12 minutes gone in the second term on the Eastland scoreboard. And looking at that on the replay, he wasted no time. Just snapped around the corner, cleared the congestion, straight through the middle.
Cross down.
It's crossed down to our boundary right at BWS for Car Sales.
No doubt the early contender, clubhouse leader for the Tobin Brothers goal of the day. That one, a perler.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, there you go, Jets. They're Jets it is. We might have to give him a Trojan toolkit. I think we've got about 400 of those back up at EFL House, do we?
He must have lost a bet or something.
Well, the other thing is, if you're going to do that, you've got to get the football so that the umpire notices that to give you votes.
So 3 points the margin now in favour of the Tigers, as we'll have take two of that ball up here in the centre square. Rucks to go at it. Naina and Gordon. Gordon over the top. Well rode there, though, by Abruzzi. Gets a handball out now here to Emily. His high up and under kick in towards centre half forward. And a good mark going back with the flight there. I think that was Nicholas. As here comes the footy now. Roved well there by Rudd. Swings it out wide, and Carroll will take this one now here for Mitcham. Puts it onto the right boot. Short chip pass. It's a poor one, as Young read that one really well. Puts it in towards centre half forward. The target there was Bazramov. Well read, though, in turn by Nicholas. And he sets the footy out now here towards centre wing. Going back with it now is Cherry. Puts a short little chip pass. I think the intended target was just inside the line, and finally has scored it over. And we'll have a boundary throw it.
At least both teams are moving the ball a little bit quicker when they get it on the outside at the moment. And this is the key. The ruckmen of Mitcham have been really good at the moment, and they've got to watch behind the contest. They've been flicking it behind the contest every time here.
Well, around the grounds, Baldwin 4-1-25, leading South Croydon 2-2-14.
And taken off there here by Pert. He gets a hand pass and a kick now up towards centre wing. Taken now by Haynes, has a couple of players to deal with, gets it over to Osborne, kicks it in towards the half-forward line. Target is Brown, well read though by Nicholas. He palms the ball over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in.
That was great defensive play then, really good. He was out of position, got a hand in and stopped what could have been a run onto goal.
14 minutes played now here on the Eastland scoreboard in quarter number 2.
And the height of Gordon is really worrying Nana. Nana can't find any to get into the right position.
Gordon wins that tap as well. English does the crumbing. Picked up by Carroll. Handball over the top is chopped off by Nana. Gets it back to English, hugging the boundary line. Gets a kick and gains around 25 metres into his own attacking 50. Rudd tackled there by Haynes. Well tackled by Haynes. Grabbed there by Abruzzi. Gets a hand pass off now here to a teammate. That's a Brioni. His kick in towards the goal square. 2-on-2 going back was Brown. Couldn't drag it down, and Mitcham will clean up at the backhand. A check side kick out of defence, and it'll take the pressure off even momentarily. Shoved out there by Marrow. And so Heathmont get the footy back in towards the attacking lane. No, that was well in the back, and that's going to be advantage paid there. Not sure who was cleaned up in that contest. Here's the kick now, roved by DeWatt. Evades a tackle or two, but the ball goes over the boundary line. We'll have a boundary throw, and that was a pretty meaty collision there at centre half back.
Well, it's a free kick coming back to Mitcham again. It's at half back now. He pumps it long down the wing. Heathmont Jets fly from everywhere, and now the Tigers look to mount something. Willenberg just wheeling around, pops it high up and under inside forward 50. Bouncing ball, Smythe tap over the top, snap around the corner, and that's Hallow, and he's kicked another ripper. So Jackson Hallow puts the Tigers further in front. They go to 4-1-25. Heathmont 2-4-16, another contender for the Tobin Brothers goal of the day. Just watching this on the replay, he's just snapped around and split the middle. As you say, he's kicked two in a matter of minutes now, two absolute belters. And as we approach the 16-minute mark, the Tigers building a handy lead in trying conditions.
And that was perfect forward craft then. The two Heathmont defenders both went up in the contest. Mitcham player knocked it over, and that's what a good crumbing goal is all about. And that's what they've kicked this quarter, 3 good crumbing goals.
So the tap out of centre. Rourke now read it right off the centre square, puts it onto the right boot, but a shocking kick, and it's gone out of bounds on the full. Had all the run and the momentum, but just not the finish. And Rudd will bring the footy back in now here for Mitcham. 4-1-25, leading Heathmont 2-4-16 as we approach 17 minutes played out here at H.E. Parker Reserve. And the Tigers with the ball deep in their own defensive zone. Short chip pass taken there by Joseph. He had a bruisey right on his hammer. And Joseph now looking for options upfield. Not much on offer, so he puts a long kick up towards the contest here at centre wing. It's fisted over the boundary line, and we'll have a boundary throw in.
I think the thing with Heathmont, they haven't played smart football this quarter. They've had 2 and 3 up in the pack and nothing on ground, and that's where they've been hurt.
So in comes the boundary throw. Nana, Gordon into the ruck now. Going in for the footy there is Cherry to do the roving, and he can't pop it out, and we'll have a boundary throw. Sorry, yes, ball up dead on centre wing. 9 points the margin in favour of the Tigers in this round 10 clash in the Eastern Football League. Got a ruck infringement, and it's going to go the way here of Gordon for Mitcham. He swings around, puts a right boot, but he's been told to bring the footy back, I think. Or have we got it coming downfield? I think we do. And play on is the call, and run down there is Gordon. Great tackle. Picked up now here by Gospel for Heathmont. His kick goes out towards the half back flank, and the Jets get out of jail here. Here's the kick now out towards centre wing. Uncontested mark there for English. Plays on quickly, goes by hand now here to Rourke. Pops a handball over the top. Going to have to move it quickly are the Jets. Here's Van Leeuwen. His handball now here to Irvine. He puts a kick onto the right boot. It's a bit of a shocker. Picked up by McCartney. Puts it onto the right. And his kick travels about 15 metres. Carroll went back with the flight, as did Coughlin, and he looks like he's the worst for wear. Carroll gets it back, kicks it right into a teammate, and it goes over the boundary line.
Well, look, they're hurting themselves at the moment, Heathmont. They're kicking themselves in the foot. They're Disposal inside 50's been poor.
Let's cross down to Ben Warren Smith, our car sales boundary rider.
What I've really been impressed with in this second term is the back line for Mitcham. They've been standing really tall. They've been working across the line and clearing the ball out well. They're playing in front also.
So Emily shovels the handball out, but Marrow tries to clear it. Immediately repelled there by the Jets as they look to go forward once again. Little miss kick there, and now they look to clear the Tigers. Willenberg sweeps it up towards half back. Glanville got a fair bit of time on his hands now, just pops it over the top and finds Parente, who's a fair way out from goal of what he's been used to. Kick over the top, finds Lachlan. Moves it inboard, and that was a
nice
very good mark taken there by Joseph. Dragged it in with one arm, and now moves it on up towards centre half forward in the direction of Cherry, but Heathmont defenders in front.
Good mark there by Van Leeuwen.
And Van Leeuwen takes a beautiful one, and then they play on very quickly. The Jets are keen to get things moving, and this man once again, Trey Brioni, moves it up towards half forward. Not his best kick though. Nicholas taking the mark at half back.
This is like a training drill, in one way, out the other.
So Parente goes very wide. His teammate there had 2 to beat, and Haynes, handball was just chopped off. Uran battles willfully at ground level and is shoveled into the ground. And the umpire, what's he called here? He's called a free kick, going the way of Mitcham. Moved on quickly, Carroll. They get it back, the Tigers, and sweeping kick, grubber kick has gone out of bounds inside the Tigers 50. They're 4-1-25, leading Heathmont 2-4-16. We've just crossed the 20-minute mark on the Eastland scoreboard.
Well, Heathmont are pushing Mitcham wide, but Mitcham have adapted to that now, Davo, and now they're starting to hurt them.
And they're starting to come inside a little bit earlier.
So a ball tossed in. Tigers through Cherry, surge forward, but that's out of bounds on the full. So Ambrose to take it, plays on. Goes very wide. They'll look to work things out here through Pert and the Jets. Towards half-back, Brioni. Van Leeuwen goes to the wing. Merritt drives up towards half-forward, but once again Nicholas chopping it off. So Nicholas goes backwards. True full-back position, the Tigers. As I mentioned, they seem to be a fair bit on the back foot. The forward pressure by the Jets has been marginally better than what Mitcham have brought so far. So Tui in the back pocket. He's got nothing to kick to here, so he's just going to chip short. Risky kick to the coach in Neil Winterton, and 25. And fair enough too. Ball knocked out of his hands by Ryan Young after he'd taken the mark.
Lucky not to get another 25 there too.
Yeah. So Winterton with the handball over the top. And now finds Gordon in the middle of the ground. Gets it back. Winterton to Rudd, who's got a bit of space to work with. Long handball over the top. They're going to surge forward again through Uran. Bouncing ball. Cherry has it once again. Smothered though there by Rourke, and a Bruzy. His handball's over the top now. Put his teammate under a fair bit of pressure, and that's going nowhere. Umpire calls for the ball.
So the change up this quarter with Mitcham is that they've gone shorter. They've gone for that short kick, bringing it up and down the ground with a short kick, and including going forward with the short kick, not the long bomb.
So Bruzy won the tap out. Trying to gather that one was Coughlin. Beaten to it now here by West. His kick partially smothered. It bounces here awkwardly for the Tigers. Can they do the roving? Good tackle applied there. McCubbin goes looking for it on the deck. Might have got one in the back. Drags the footy back in, and players stack on the mill, and we will have a ball up dead in front, 25 metres out from the Mitcham goal.
Heathmont did well then. They were out of it. There was a goal for the taking from Mitcham then.
22 minutes played. Well into time on here at H.E. Parker Reserve. The tap comes out, doing the shepherding there. Picked up there by a good kick in there from West. It goes a high up and under into the goal square, but it's punched over the line for a boundary throw in.
They look dangerous every time the ball goes inside their forward 50. They've got a bit more purpose, whereas Heathmont have just really butchered the ball going inside their own forward 50 this
Seem to have
quarter.
lost their structure a little bit in this quarter, Heathmont.
So in comes the boundary throw. Gordon wins the tap over the top. It's a loose footy on the deck, and players pile on. We'll have a ball up. Another stoppage to add to the probably nearly in triple figures, I'd say, for this game.
He's crucial at the moment, Gordon.
Yep.
Crucial in these ruck contests.
So Gordon via Brucey now. Neither ruckman can get to it. It's a loose footy. Getting the foot to ball there was Pert, but it comes out to Carroll. He snaps around the body. Going back with a flight with a mark. There was Parente. Can't get the foot to ball. And it's socket over the line there by McCubbin. And the Tigers have their 5th of the afternoon. And McCubbin has got his first of the game. It's 5-1-31. They lead Heathmont 2-4-16. 23 minutes gone on the Eastland scoreboard.
Well, they've worked extremely hard this quarter, Mitcham, for their goals. The 2 Gordons in the ruck are starting to take over, not only in the clearances but around the ground as well.
Oh, definitely. And look, there's been some poor defensive efforts from the Heathmont players when the ball has hit the ground.
It's not like so much in the air. Haven't they?
Yeah, not so much in the air, but on the ground they've really been hurt. I think there's been 4 snapped goals this quarter. Yep. So there's the difference.
So 24 minutes gone in the second term on the Eastland scoreboard. It's Mitcham by 15 points. They surge forward again through Haynes. The Jets kick really off target though and goes nowhere, out of bounds.
They actually need a goal before half-time, Heathmont.
Well, the next goal either way is going to be crucial, isn't it? Mitcham kick the next one. They're out to a dangerous lead in these types of conditions, but Heathmont, they stay in touch with the next goal. It's as simple as that. As the ball gets tossed in, Gordon versus Abruzzi. Uran brought down in the tackle and he's been pinged for holding the ball. So here's a chance for the Jets to ping one back just before the main break. Ryan Burley, who's already got a goal to his name, pumps it up towards the top of the square. Players fly and the mark's been taken. I'm not sure who that might have been.
That's Osborne.
And Cameron Osborne has taken the mark. Beautiful contested mark there and opportunity for the Jets to hit back at the 25-minute mark in the shadows of half-time.
That's a lovely grab.
Some of their experienced players for Heathmont need to get more into the contest. Young, Tommy Rourke, these experienced midfielders, not getting enough of the ball.
So Cameron Osborne to make the margin 9 points in the shadows of half-time. Very deliberate approach as he comes in to kick for goal. Oh, and that kick's a classic shank.
Free kick.
Well, they've now had 3 direct shots at goal from easy range and have butchered all of them.
It doesn't look like it, does it?
And there's the half-time siren, and it's Mitcham 5-1-31, leading Heathmont 2-4-16. Handy lead for the Tigers at half-time. Just recapping those goal kickers, Jackson Hallow has 2 majors, Jesse Smythe 1, along with Jake Toohey and James McCubbin, while for the Jets, Bajramov and Burley a goal each. You're listening to EFL Game Day right here on 1377 SEN+. Don't go anywhere, more after this.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on...
And you're clear, we've got 4 minutes.
Nathan Buckley believes this week's events have reinforced rather than eroded the culture at Collingwood.
What happened was leadership. What happened was, I'm going to own my actions here. There is a short-term consequence, a penalty and pain that will come from it. But long-term, we're much better off because of the way it was handled.
Join me again Monday from 9.
Powered by a 100% Australian electricity and gas retailer. That's Red Energy. Switch today. The BMW End of Financial Year event is now on at Doncaster BMW.
This season may be over, but the NBA action never stops. The stage is set on June 21 for the NBA draft. Watch and see which teams draft the next generation of stars and the eye-popping fashion choices of this year's draft class. Then catch the NBA awards on June 25 to see who will take out this season's highest honours, the MVP, Rookie of the Year and more. Don't forget, with NBA League Pass, you can watch the NBA draft, NBA awards and Summer League live. Download the NBA app or visit NBA.com for details. The 2019 Toyota AFL season is past halfway, so don't miss your exclusive Round 14 AFL record, featuring teams, stats and facts in your expanded matchday section. In this week's record, senior writer Ashley Brown names his top 25 players of the 2019 season, who will be the coveted #1 player in the AFL. And exclusive each week, how your team rates according to the stats. Don't forget to grab your AFL record this weekend, still just $5. Thanks to Karcher, the official 2019 partner of the AFL record.
Tyre Power is Australia's biggest independent tyre retailer, and right now they're having Australia's biggest independent stock take sale, which means you have the power to save on Falcon tyres. Buy 3 and get 1 free on a huge range of Falcon passenger car tyres. That's buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Falcon tyres, but only at Tyre Power. See website for details. Tyre Power's biggest ever stock take sale is now on. Visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner operator.
At Melbourne Airport, you can...
Okay, I've got Clint Stanaway. He's ready to go straight out of the break.
Makes it easy to greet your loved ones when they come home, or give them a proper send-off. You can also park for up to 3 hours for just $24. For $51. That's cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes, and everything in between, Melbourne Airport Parking is here to get you there. Visit melbourneairport.com.au.
From where you are to the game. From the game back to where you were. Get there with Scooty. Melbourne's first motor scooter rideshare service is here. More nimble, more affordable. Scooty is the new, safe, greener, easier way to zip your way through inner city peak hour. Next time you're out and about, jump on the back of a Scooty.
Coming up to 1 minute.
And book a ride.
If you're the guy whose job it is to order timber to the site, here's a fail-safe guide to not getting yourself fired. Step 1, use Coldstream Timber. Step 2, see Step 1. When you use Coldstream Timber, you'll never run out of timber, because whatever you're building, Coldstream Timber and Hardware can organise same-day delivery of timber, framing, doors, decking, hardware, insulation, flooring and more. You'll never run out of timber with Coldstream Timber and Hardware. Maroondah Highway Coldstream. coldstreamtimber.com.au. Conditions apply.
Driving you home, it's KB in the dock.
Going to call it out.
30 seconds.
Is there another on the radio? Yes, listen to this. Okay. There you go.
It's got a sensor to Tim Kelly.
It picks up a Tim Kelly story that tells us nothing. It's not me. It's just automatic, Kevin.
For Ace Gutters, Australian made, built to last. And On Deck, small business.
Okay, 10 seconds.
ondeck.com.au.
KB in the dock, back Monday from 3. Breakfast with Gary and Tim. Weekdays from 6 on SEN.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to put the mics back on now. Stand by. And go.
And you're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. It's EFL Game Day here from H.E. Parker Reserve. We're currently at half-time. It's Mitcham 5-1-31 leading Heathmont 2-4-16 in our EFL match of the round. But first, before we break down the first half of footy, let's go to Clint Stanaway in the 9 newsroom. Clint.
A very good afternoon to you. Plenty of news happening right around Australia too. Here in Melbourne, the family of a missing St Albans grandfather has made what was a really tearful plea for his safe return. 86 years of age, he vanished yesterday afternoon. A gunman has opened fire, injuring several people, including one man left fighting for life in Brisbane. Airstrikes on Iran that would have killed hundreds have been called off with minutes to spare. That's according to the President, Donald Trump. Plenty of footy on the cards too. The D's and Dockers in action at the MCG. The Dockers by 6 points. We'll have the latest on that with Ed and Woolley. A real eyebrow raiser in terms of Jesse Hogan. He's off the ground in significant pain. Fears he may have injured that foot, the navicular that he carried into that trade to the Dockers just last year. We'll have the latest on that, plus Corey Norris with the highlights of the Saints and Lions match. Dan Hanbury, how we go, we'll find out very shortly. That's all coming up. 9 News at 6.
Thanks, Clint. Clint Stanaway in the 9 newsroom. Well, out here at H.E. Parker Reserve, it's Mitcham 5-1-31 leading Heathmont 2-4-16. Quick recap of the goal kickers. Jackson Hallow has 2 for Mitcham. Jesse Smythe, Jake Toohey and James McCubbin all have 1. And for Heathmont, Ayan Bajramov and Ryan Burley both have singles for Heathmont. And Dan, we've got some scores coming in from around the A-League.
Yeah, this game a fair bit ahead of some of the other ones, given we had 2 goals kicked in the opening term. But half-time of the Division 4 clash, I know you guys labelled it match of the round on pre-match, and you're not far wrong. Coldstream 3-7-25 leading Surrey Park 2-2-14 at half-time. And of course in Division 1, Bayswater building a lead on East Ringwood, 8-3-51 leading East Ringwood 3-3-21. That's at the 20-minute mark of the second term. And a big momentum shift in the clash between the Whitehorse Pioneers and Warrandyte. In Division 3, it's the Whitehorse Pioneers 4-7-31 leading Warrandyte 4-3-27. So the Blood's starting to make a charge.
They are indeed, and we'll have more scores from around the grounds as the afternoon progresses, and we'll have all the scores and results from the Eastern Football League. 22 games across the league this afternoon as you go local for your footy from 5 o'clock this afternoon. Join Damo Watson in the SEN studios for all the post-game results and reports from around the grounds. And don't forget, tomorrow EFL Sunday with BWS. It returns 10 o'clock on SEN 1377. And don't forget to tune into the EFL Insight podcast during the week.
Award-winning
podcast. We just had Lilydale great Sean Ellis on the program last week, and a great interview with him. And let's as we talk about today's game, Davo, your thoughts on the first half of footy?
Well, at the start, it was pretty ugly first quarter, we have to admit, with the amount of contests and stoppages, but opened up a little bit in that quarter. I thought both sides moved the ball pretty well. Mitcham had started the quarter and started the game moving the ball to the outside of the ground the entire time, but they started to go inboard a little bit more. They kicked a bit shorter, and they just played smarter when they went forward. The ball was put into dangerous areas. The Heathmont defensive group made a few errors, and they capitalised on those errors, whereas the ball going into Heathmont's forward line was quite good early on. Then it changed up and it got a bit scrappy, but Heathmont had 3 chances to kick very, very easy goals and have completely butchered them each time. So that's going to hurt them when it's such a tight game.
Brash, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, look, I just thought in that second quarter, I thought Heathmont played dumb football. Their back line, I just thought they didn't work it out too well. There wasn't enough torque. And then when they went forward, they seemed to not being able to hit a target. And then when they did, as Davo's mentioned, they had 3 shots on goal that you shouldn't miss. I reckon the one thing that's made a big difference is the fact that Heathmont were prepared to allow or concede the width and the boundary to Mitcham, and Mitcham in the second quarter have made them pay for it, because then they added the short game to that width, and then that's left Heathmont on the back foot, because now that they've got to try and get some ascendancy back, so they're going to have to take control of the midfield. I think they're struggling in the ruck. Heathmont, they're not getting enough out of the midfield. The 2 Gordons are really starting to impose themselves on the contest, and that's giving the Mitcham runners first use at it.
And Dan Sensei, we've got some more scores coming in.
Yeah, coming in thick and fast from Division 1. We'll start with Bayswater and East Ringwood. Bayswater 9-3-57, leading East Ringwood 4-4-28 at half-time. Coddy leading the charge with 3 majors there. Doncaster East taking on at Lilydale. Of course, these 2 sides met in the grand final last year, and it's Doncaster East doing it pretty easily over the Falcons at the moment. 5-8-38, leading Lilydale 1-4-10. And in the local derby, Wantirna South taking on at Knox. It's Wantirna South 7-1-43, leading Knox 4-4-28 at halftime.
Thanks, Dan. Well, to wrap things up here from the halftime show, it's Mitcham 5-1-31, leading Heathmont 2-4-16 on your EFL Match of the Round. You're listening to SEN 1377. We'll be back with more right after this.
Waitley.
And you clear 4 minutes.
Breakfast with Gary Lyon and Tim Watson.
Hugh McLaughlin, do you think he's staying in the position for much longer?
Well,
what are you hearing?
I think there's an expectation, Tim, that probably at the end of next year that he would move on, because I think he's contracted to the end of 2020. There's been some speculation in the paper about who his successor might be.
Who do you think it'll be?
Well, probably Brendan Gale.
For Melbourne Airport long-term car park, unbeatable deals this tax time with AEG Power Tools and Toyota Means Business. Back Monday from 6.
Ready to go your own way in an Isuzu Ute D-Max or MUX? Then come down our way to Frankston Isuzu Ute. Hi, Gordon Rose, inviting you to come see us in Wells Road, Seaford, opposite Cannonook Station. We're a locally owned family business with years of experience who look after our customers. We offer good trade-ins, have great finance and want your business. So for work, for play or getting the family around, make it an Isuzu Ute from Frankston Isuzu Ute, Wells Road, Seaford, LMCT 10901.
The 2019 Toyota AFL season is past halfway, so don't miss your exclusive Round 14 AFL record, featuring teams, stats and facts in your expanded matchday section. In this week's record, senior writer Ashley Brown names his top 25 players of the 2019 season, who will be the coveted #1 player in the AFL. And exclusive each week, how your team rates according to the stats. Don't forget to grab your AFL record this weekend, still just $5.
Thanks to Karcher, the official 2019 partner of the AFL record.
Hi, Craig Lowndes here. I may be an expert at wrestling a supercar around a racetrack, but I'm not an expert on tyres. That's why when it comes to my family's safety, I rely on the expert advice I get from the team at Tyre Power. I know that the tyres Tyre Power recommend for my family's car will not only be the right size, they'll be right for local conditions and right for my budget. That's just another reason why I get the power at Tyre Power. Seriously, why would you buy your tyres anywhere else?
At Melbourne Airport, you can get 1 hour terminal parking for just $12. It makes it easy to greet your loved ones when they come home or give them a proper send-off. You can also park for up to 3 hours for just $24 and 1 day for $51. That's cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes and everything in between, Melbourne Airport Parking is here to get you there. Visit melbourneairport.com.au.
Do you hold a current full Victorian motorcycle or scooter licence and want to earn some extra cash? Scooty! Melbourne's new two-wheel taxi service is here. And right now, Scooty is looking for motor scooter drivers to beat Melbourne's traffic congestion and get people to the game, the gig or the meeting. Sign up at scooty.com.au today and turn your motor scooter into a money-making machine. Scooty. Delivering people.
ROBOT Robot Building Supplies.
1 minute.
By a robot. Then again,
Do something, don't think, do.
Robot Building Supplies has everything. Steel, sleepers, wire mesh.
Robots got it.
Roofing and timber.
Robots got it.
Be the winning team on site. For your building supplies, order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au or call 1300 GO ROBOT. You'll speak with a real human.
ROB.
Coming up to 30.
Supplies.
AFL.
Boxes onto it. Almost got goal side. Did. Floats it home.
NBA.
Curry up a dime for a right-hand slam.
A-League Finals.
Honda!
State of Origin.
The war is over. New South Wales are champions yet
The
again.
2019 Cricket World Cup.
Drives. This could be it. He beats Smith off. It's out to the boundary for 4.
When big sport happens, you'll hear it live on SEN and the SEN app. Download today.
The award-winning Crunch Time this morning from 11 on SEN.
Okay, here we go. Putting your mics back on now.
40.
And go.
You're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. It's EFL Game Day, our match of the round from H.E. Parker Reserve out here in Heathmont. It's the Mitcham Footy Club, 5-1-31, leading Heathmont 2-4-16 after half-time. Goal kickers for Mitcham, Jackson Hallow with a pair, Jesse Smythe, Jake Toohey and James McCubbin with one apiece, and for Heathmont, Ryan Burley and Ian Bajramov with one apiece. And we get ready for the second half to start here in a moment. Don't forget, 5 o'clock, the EFL post-game show hosted by Damien Watson from the SEN studios. We'll have all the scores and results from around the Eastern Football League this afternoon. 22 games on offer as you go local for your footy. And tomorrow from 10 o'clock on SEN 1377, it's EFL Sunday. Join BWS and the crew as they break down all 22 games and some interviews with some of the winning coaches from around the Eastern Footy League. And gents, as we get ready for the third quarter, what are you looking for?
Well, I think I'm looking for a couple of the Heathmont players to start to get their hands on the football. I just had a look down. I don't reckon Walk's done enough. I don't think Decler's done enough. Ben Irvine really hasn't been influential at all. Even Savoury hasn't done too much. Kyle Emley was really quiet that quarter. So they've got a lot of players that I think that really can lift up and become a little bit more influential. Even Brent English needs to get his hands on the football around the contest a bit more and break it open. So that's what I'm looking at, and I'm also looking at to see how are Heathmont going to curb the ruck dominance of the Gordons at this stage, because that's certainly hurting them around the ground and in the centre.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is too, I'm looking for Heathmont to play a lot more direct in this third quarter, because I feel that they need the opening couple of goals just to get themselves back into the contest.
And speaking of the contest, about to begin, here's Dan Sensick.
Third quarter underway here at H.E. Parker Reserve. That man we speak of, Gordon, wins the tap down, but the Jets, dynamic out of the midfield. Young got the handball out. crunching in now at half forward, and it's a free kick going the way of the Tigers. I think that might have been Lachlan to take it. McCubbin played on very quickly. Little grubber kick. The Jets, though, got the numbers down back now as they look to clear. Bouncing ball out wide to the wing. Haynes takes a bounce. Little chip over the top. Oh, great spoil there by McCartney. And the Tigers with intent early on in this term. Lachlan dispossessed the footy, and McCubbin wraps up his adversary there in Van Leeuwen in the tackle. The umpire calls for the ball.
And that was a poor kick from Haynes, and he needed to really hit him on the chest instead of just lobbing it up.
Gordon wins the tap once again. Winterton wrestling there with Haynes at the bottom of the pack, and the umpire will ball it up on centre wing. 15 points of difference in favour of the Tigers. Gordon just palms it down. Carroll, handball out to Tui, who thumps it forward for a teammate, and Willenberg there just holding on to his opponent. And ball's going to be tossed in just outside 50.
I've just watched Naina go up in the last two rock contests. He's become very hesitant. He just doesn't know how to play Gordon.
Well, Gordon once again gets the front position, takes it straight out of the ruck. Winterton just slams it on the boot. Bouncing ball, just hacked out of mid-air now to centre half back now for the Jets. And just cruel bounce there for Merritt. And he takes down Joseph in the tackle. Lets him know all about it as well. We'll have a ball up, centre half forward.
But they're playing, like with the ruck dominance, they're just being able to palm it down and they get the one sit, one back each time. That's a beautiful hit to advantage.
And great punch there by Gordon. And they've got the numbers here, the Tigers. Carroll, Uran just trying to spin his way out of trouble, then looks for the boundary line. Heathmont players appealing for the free here, and they've won themselves a free kick, so Burley to take it. He's already got a goal to his name today, 1 of 2 for the Jets. Just thumps it down the wing, looking for a Bruzy. And there's been another whistle here. He's got himself the free kick. Ben Abruzzi. What a presence he has around the ground. Hands it off to English. So English will just thump it long. Inside forward 50, looking for Finn Brown. Copped a bit of a falcon on his way through. Bajramov bounces it towards the square. Doesn't have enough on it, but the Jets will put it through. Ryan Young. And they are back. 3-4-22 Heathmont. Mitcham 5-1-31 on the Eastland scoreboard. Nearly 3 minutes gone. Steve White.
Fantastic goal there from... Bajramov did the heavy lifting, and Ryan Young finished it off, Davo.
Yeah, look, it was a great bit of play. A nice falcon from, who was the young boy who falconed the ball forward?
Finn Brown.
Finn Brown, yeah, nice falcon from him. So, look, that's better. Got it in quick, got it in long, and their small forwards were able to capitalise. Haven't been able to do it all day.
So 5-1-31 leads 3-4-22. The gap closed. 9 points now the margin in favour of the Tigers as the ball comes down to centre, just hacked off the ground there by Naina. Must have gone 25 metres, taken off the bounce there by Ryan Young, got one up high. Van Leeuwen goes in, so does Rudd. Rudd on the deck, grabbed almost there by Irvine was the footy. It comes out now, trying to burst through as Young gets a handball away. In come Heathmont, the kick in towards the square, going back with the fight, and it's just the minus score. I think it was Pert or Merritt with the kick. Merritt with just the minus score there for Heathmont. That takes them to 3-5-23. Mitcham 5-1-31. 4 minutes gone on the Eastland scoreboard.
Young's worked well the last the opening couple of minutes.
So Joseph just roosts it up towards half-back, but the Jets have got plenty of numbers here. Merritt, with intent, tries to spot up a target and does so.
Brioni.
And it's Brioni once again. You can't mistake that man with Jets clearly bleached in the back of his head. And a huge opportunity for Heathmont now as he hands off to Brent English, who sets sail for goal. To the top of the square, doesn't have the carry, it does. And the Jets draw within 2 points. They go to 4-5-29. Mitcham 5-1-31. 4.5 gone. Third term on the Eastland scoreboard.
Now, I know that Mitcham have only been in this division for a small amount of time, but you should know that inside anywhere around 50, you cannot allow Brent English to be standing behind the kicker. because he's such a beautiful long kick of the football. It's been known for years that he does that, so they're going to be smarter. The player on him has got to work a lot harder to not allow him to do that. He did it twice in the 2 goals, actually, to bring the ball in first time and then to kick that one.
So that was Brent English's 10th goal of the season as Nana wins the tap. Bursting through there is Winterton for Mitcham. He's high up and under kick, goes to a contest. Winterton ends up on the bottom of the deck. Trying to get that one forward is Nicholas. And away come to Mitcham. There is a shot on goal here from Lachlan. It's going to go all the way wide though. The intent was there, the execution wasn't, and that's going to be out of bounds. A boundary throw-in in the forward pocket here for the Tigers.
So the kicking for goal down that neck of the woods hasn't been good all afternoon.
Half-time score coming through from Doncaster as well. 6-1-37 the Sharks, trailing Noble Park 7-7-49.
Interesting score out there at Shrams as the ball comes out now here to Gordon. He goes by hand, hands this one off. They're looking there for Uren. It's his kick is chopped off by Naina. It's loose on the deck. A handball comes out. Winterton goes looking for it. It's loose there. Picked up by Burley. He ends up on the bottom of the pack and will have a ball up straight in front, 20 metres out.
This is where they've got to be careful, Heathmont. They've had a couple in the first quarter where they gave away free kicks really close to goal in this similar situation.
And going right out of mid-air there was Carroll, and the mark is taken by Lachlan going back with it. If we have a look on the replay, here comes the ball up.
Gee, I wouldn't have thought that was 15.
And straight out of mid-air, gone the volley, and Lachlan's read it, and he's taken the mark here in the pocket, hugging the boundary line, and he's looking for Mitcham's 6th.
That was outstanding work in the ruck. I mean, for a big bloke to do that.
Check side kick, and it's just the one behind. So that good work undone there. Just the minor score, however, was a tough angle. Mitcham 5-2-32, just their second behind of the afternoon. They lead Heathmont 4-5-29, 7 minutes gone on the Eastland scoreboard.
So Pert plays on straight away, and he'll chip it short. Put his teammate in Burley under a fair bit of pressure, and the Tigers will lock it in. McCubbin wrapped up in the tackle. So this game lifted in intensity this half. And that man once again, Gordon, in the ruck, takes it out, then roosts it into a dangerous position in defence. Can the Tigers make something here? McCubbin wrapped up again, and we'll see a ball up top of the square.
Well, they nearly ruined each other's chances then, the two Heathmont backs again nearly ran into each other.
So English once again shrugs the tackle, so strong through the hips, and his kick just spilled at the end there by Merritt. But great intent there by English. How he's able to shrug tackles time and again. And as we say, he loves these conditions, so effective. So we'll see a boundary throw in just outside 50 for Mitcham. They need to hit back as the Jets have hit the ground running this term. McCubbin once again tries to slap it forward. He's got plenty of numbers back though, and it's a bit of a stacks on. Mitcham players appealing for the free kick.
And they got it.
And it looks as though, I'm not sure who's at the bottom of that pack and who's going to earn themselves the free kick, but there's taking their time to get up here. Ambrose just hand the footy over, and it's going to go to, Cherry to take the free kick. So the Tigers, an opportunity here for a bit of a buffer as we cross the 8.5 minute mark of this third term. Heathmont with the last 2 goals. So Jesse Cherry comes in, kick looks okay off the boot, and he split the middle. Mitcham building a buffer. They go to 6-2-38. Heathmont 4-5-29. Nearly 9 minutes gone, third term on the Eastland scoreboard.
Well, I think if you look at the actual kick, it's gone straight, but I reckon it came off his instep and floated through, but it doesn't matter how they go through. The fact is it's gone straight. So a crucial goal, and again, they've given away a free kick down in that area, Heathmont, and have done that too many times today.
So Nana and Gordon to go at it in the ruck again. 9 minutes played here in this third term. Haynes on hands and knees gets ridden into the turf there by Gordon. He's won himself a free kick there in the centre of the ground. And Heathmont play on quickly. Here's English, puts it onto the left boot. Looking there for Ajmarov, couldn't get it. His kick Picked up by Stevens, but that's chopped off by Winterton. His kick now out towards centre wing is a high floating kick, and it's just going to bounce out of play and over the boundary line. Well, at least I thought it did. And the boundary umpire said play on. Keeping that one in there is Parente, and finally it goes out.
They gained some valuable metres.
20 metres out of that. So Parente doing his team a solid there, getting inside the forward 50.
He's another one we haven't heard of much today, have we, Parente?
He's played further up the ground too.
Yeah.
Usually plays deep.
Kicked 29 goals on the year, Parente, but none this afternoon. Taking that one right off the ball is Gordon. He's gets stripped of the footy there. It ends up with Ryan Burley. Now his kick off the right boot goes out towards vacant centre wing. Foot race there. Osborne versus Joseph. Joseph wins the footy but gets tackled brilliantly there by Osborne. Unlucky not to get a free kick as Nicholas comes away with the footy there from Mitcham. And that's going to be escorted over the boundary line there for Marrow.
Very stiff not to get a free kick there because I thought it was definitely on.
Oh, Marrow's got himself a free kick. Well, he plays on quickly, puts it in towards the forward 50. Uncontested mark there for Savoury. Going back with the flight. Switched or thought about switching the play. And he decides to go up the wing to a contest. And going back with the flight there is Marrow. Good mark from him. And he thought about playing on himself. And allows the Jets defenders to get back. His short chip pass. Finds a teammate there in Winterton, the playing coach. His kick is a short one, and that went through the legs there of Hallow. Picked up by English. Nice handball over the top there. Finds a teammate in Emily. His kick, though, is chopped off. Great mark. Mark of the day there from Carroll so far. He goes by hand to Winterton. Winterton's kick in towards the forward line. Strong jukes there from Willenberg, and he takes the mark here for Mitcham.
Well, I think if Heathmont don't get up today, they will look at their field kicking and their choices and say that's where we've really hurt ourselves today.
So Anthony Willenberg's kicked 4 goals on the year so far. Lines up now here from about 45. His kick off the right is just to the near side. Had the journey, just not the accuracy. Just the one behind. Mitcham moved to 6-3-39, leading Heathmont 4-5-29. 10 points the margin, 12 minutes played.
Well, a half-time score coming through from Baldwin and South Croydon. And it's Baldwin 9-3-57, leading South Croydon 7-5-47 at the main break. So the Jets move it down the wing. And Van Leeuwen on that occasion was outstretched. Or rather, a free kick going the way of Mitcham.
Out in the full.
And Marrow just looking for his best option now. He'll just pump it long inside forward 50. Players fly from all directions. Great fist from the back there as they look to clear now through Haynes. Down the wing and looking for a Brucey who's unable to take the mark. Finn Brown a long way from home. Van Leeuwen once again. Handball over the top. Osborne battling at ground level. Tries to shrug the tackle. Goes back to a Brucey. A Brucey to Brown. And now they look to mount a forward charge here in the direction of Brett English. Takes them on. Tries to keep it in play but doesn't. And a bit going on there. And we'll see a boundary throw in. Half forward for the Jets. They need to hit back after Mitcham with the reply, of course, just a few moments ago. They trail this by 10 points. 6-3-39 Mitcham. Heathmont 4-5-29. 13 and a half gone. A Brucey doing the ruck work. Emily looks to charge it forward for the Jets to the top of the square and punched out of bounds.
Where are the crummers for Heathmont? There's none.
They all went up.
Oh no, it's ridiculous. They're not playing smart enough football.
And even that kick was to the wrong area. It needed to be closer towards the top of the square again.
So ball toss back into play. A Brucey doing the ruck work, looking for English. Emily, the playing coach, what can he do? Snaps it around up towards the top of the square. Finn Brown over the top. Spilled it at the last minute, but as the umpire paid it, he has a free kick going the other way. Uren. Yeah. Gee, he can fly for a mark though, Finn Brown, can't he? But Uren, true fullback position. Risky kick up towards centre half back. Hits a teammate in Marrow on the chest. And now they go again, the Tigers. Slipped over at the last moment there. And now the Jets have got an opportunity to send it back inside forward 50. Bouncing ball. McCartney keeping a cool head there, but that's not his best kick. Chopped off there on the wing. And now they'll go again, the Jets. This is Stevens. So Stevens Pops it inside forward. 50, a Brucey from the back with the fly. Rudd now under a fair bit of pressure, wrapped up by English. And we'll see a ball up.
So ball up there. Brucey and Bajramov almost cancelled each other out there in that contest. Anyway, Brucey to do the rucking. He knocks it down. Picked up by Rourke. Looks for a handball over the top. Winnerton's there, though, for the Tigers. Under pressure now here in Mitcham, but cool as you like is Winnerton. His kick up the wing towards the contest. A 2-on-1. Carroll can't take the mark. Tackled there is Stevens. Running onto it here is Irvine for Heathmont. Pops a handball out. Stevens. Handball back across in the centre of the ground. Here's Van Leeuwen. His right foot kick in towards full forward. A Brucey just couldn't take the mark, and he looks like he's won himself a free kick. He was held, according to the umpire, as Jesse Uren pleading his case. And a Brucey, well, it looks like he's got... I thought he had 20.
Take it.
Yeah, okay, it's going to be Finn Brown. Might have been just off there, but it looks like a Brucey was the man manhandled.
I think they've given it for a shepherd out. I think they're saying that Brown was shepherded out early on, stopping his run into the contest.
So Finn Brown hasn't been accurate this afternoon. See what he can do here. Here's the kick.
That's better.
Yeah, it's just the minor score. So Brown's kicking woes sort of continue from last week when he was 4-7. He's 0-3 this afternoon. And that moves Heathmont 4-6-30. They trail Mitcham 6-3-39. 16 minutes played here in the third term on the Eastland scoreboard.
At least that was better off the foot. At least that looked like a proper kick. He didn't poke at it.
So you ran to the flank, looking for a teammate, but beautiful fist from behind there by Declan. And we'll see a throw in. 4-6-30, Heathmont trailing Mitcham 6-3-39. 16 and a half minutes gone in the third term on the Eastland scoreboard. You're listening on 1377 SEN Plus and simulcast on 98.1 Radio Eastern.
Make sure you tune into the award-winning EFL Inside podcast on Thursday.
Always sensational listening, as you know, Steve White. Ball toss back into play. English. They've got the numbers here, the Jets, if they can just be smart about it, but stripped of the ball there on that occasion was the Heathmont man, and it's they've been pinged here for holding the ball, so Cherry to take it. Kicks across the ground, finds Hallow, who's got 2 goals to his name. And now the Jets, through Coughlin, move it up towards half forward, looking for a Brucey. Has 2 to beat. Feeds the handball out to Bajramov, who's already kicked a major. Bajramov once again checks side, and that's way across the face. Out of bounds. And gee, their field kicking woes continue, Heathmont.
Yeah, that was a little bit tougher, but he's got a bit of excitement about him, hasn't he? When he goes near the ball, something happens. Tell you who's had a phenomenal quarter has been English. He's really put them on his shoulders and carried them.
So the ball tossed back into play. A Brucey doing the ruck work against Gordon. Charging through, wrapped up in the tackle there was Haynes. And we'll see another ball up. 9 points the margin on the Eastland scoreboard. Ball tossed up, a Brucey. The Tigers on the last line of defence. And now they'll look to clear towards half back. And Stevens just sees that one over the boundary line for a throw-in. Just recapping those goal kickers, Jackson Hallow has 2 majors for Mitcham. Cherry, Smythe, Toohey and McCubbin. While for Heathmont, all singles, Bajramov, English, Burley and Ryan Young rounds out the goal kickers. So ball toss back into play. No ruckman able to get a clean purchase, and now they go forward. Mitcham, they've got 2-on-1 situation here with Parente, 2 to beat, but clean bowls everyone in that occasion. Savoury in defence, finds a teammate, and they'll look to just work things out here. Heathmont, not a lot to kick to. So they're moving on very quickly down the wing. Solid mark taken there, and that was Gosball. So Gosball at half back. It's just man-on-man footy at the moment. He finds a teammate there in Burley on the wing. So Burley, centering kick. This is Coughlin. Smack bang in the middle of H.E. Parker Reserve. Switches it again. Now they'll look to go forward, the Jets. Good looking kick for Ryan Young. Hits him on the chest just outside the arc. Chips over the top looking for Stevens, who takes the mark.
Well, that's the best passage of play for the day from probably both sides, I'd say. They controlled the football from the defensive area right up to that area. Nice control. switched it twice, back into the middle. Now he's just got to finish it off with a nice kick.
Well,
tough kick though. He's a fair way out.
Well, a crucial kick here as we approach time on in the third term. Goals fairly hard to come by today for Heathmont as well, as Bailey Stevens comes in kicking from the paint. Kick looks good off the boot. He's kicked the goal, and Heathmont have their fifth. They go to 5-6-36. Mitcham 6-3-39. 3 points the margin. 20 minutes gone. Third term on the Eastland scoreboard.
Looks like the contest is starting to develop here now.
Yeah, well, that was the team goal of the day, that one. Really good play out of defence. Again, a turnover from Mitcham when they were coming out of... they got a nice clearance and just kicked it into no man's land. Again, if they'd lowered their eyes, they might have been able to hit up a target.
So 3 points the margin now here in this game.
No 6-6 there.
So in comes the ball up. Read well off the ruck there by Rourke, off the tack from Nana. High up and under kick here to centre half forward. Abruzzi had the front spot. It comes to ground. Rudd couldn't contain it. Abruzzi got a good hand pass out. Here comes the kick in towards the Brown direction. A great grab there from Riley Nicholas, going back with the flight. And he switches the play here to Zach Carroll. His short stabbing kick is a little short there for his teammate there in Lachlan. He's smeared there by Irvine. And the umpire says, give us the ball. And Jesse Urin says, that's a little bit much. Let's go down to our car sales boundary at BWS.
It's pretty exciting down here at ground level. There's a big crowd down here at the moment. I tell you what, though, when Bailey Stevens kicked that last goal, although the cheers went up from the Heathmont faithful, they're like, we're going to hear about that goal for quite some time as well. So.
I'm sure we'll be hearing about it all at the post-game beers as well. Here's the tap. And, well, in dispute now here. Here's Bajramov, sold the dummy, sold another one. He's handball inside, finds a teammate, snap around the body, is going to fall short here. The goal square goes past Nicholas and it's out of bounds. That was Joel Gospel there with a try from about 25 metres out.
I don't know what he was trying. I don't know what sort of a kick that was. That was a nothing kick. He either had to put it up in the air or try and kick the goal.
I've got to say, Nicholas has done a fair job on Finn Brown this afternoon.
Yeah, he has. It worked really well.
Comes to boundary throw. Abruzzi takes it right off the ruck, gets a hand pass out, but then gets it right back. He's tackled well there by Glossop as the Tigers work this one out of defence, but it's chopped off here by Stevens, the goal kicker from moments ago. Had Rourke on offer, decides to centre the footy here to the contest. Brown and Bajramov have the front spot. It's a loose footy, roved right off the deck there by Haynes and almost dribbles through, but Carroll got hands to it and just made it the minor score. So that moves Heathmont to 5-7-37, trailing Mitcham 6-3-39. 2 points the margin here, 22 minutes played in the third term on the Eastland scoreboard.
Their repeat 50s have been very good at the moment, Heathmont. They can't allow Mitcham to run it out of defence though.
So Carroll, long ball out of defence. Solid mark taken there by Declan. So Declan in front of McCubbin, puts it inside forward 50. They can't take a mark here, the Jets though. Battling willfully. Carroll once again just clearing. And they'll see the boundary line right in front of Merritt there. 2 points the difference on the Eastland scoreboard.
Well, Heathmont are doing everything right in this quarter except get the ball and hit a target in their forward 50.
So the Rucks go at it. Gordon, once again, what an influence he's had over this game so far. Rourke at ground level leads the race in front of Parente, who slipped over in the end. Stevens, kick around the corner. What can they do now? Burley led the race, but they've got the numbers here. The Tigers, Uren brought down in the tackle. It wasn't high. And the umpire says that was okay. So a ball up deep in attack for Heathmont. As we near the 24-minute mark of the third term, a goal would put them in front. And Rudd slipped over, and just a barrage of players coming through there. Ball going nowhere, umpire calls for it.
Tell you what, Abruzzi's worked really hard this quarter as well. Done a lot of the heavy lifting work in the ruck, in the forward 50.
So speak of that man, once again, Abruzzi just palming it down. And Rudd wraps his adversary up in the tackle there. It's Mitcham 6-3-39 leading Heathmont 5-7-37. 2 points the difference, 24 and a half gone on the Eastland scoreboard in the third term here at H.E. Parker Reserve. Emily, kick was smothered, goes nowhere. Merritt tried, Rourke just hacks it out of mid-air. How's this one going to go? Right to the line. Finn Brown flew for the mark. And now battling willfully was Nicholas. Got the handball out, but there's a whistle for holding. Umpire called play on. Parente sells a bit of candy, works himself into a bit of trouble, but it's okay. Moves it up towards half forward, but there's another whistle.
Free kick down the ground.
And free kick for downfield as play goes on, or has it been called back? And Parente finds himself with the free. Nearing half forward for the Tigers. A goal would sting the Jets at the moment. So McCubbin goes backwards and finds Smythe on the wing. Smythe out wide to the flank. And solid mark taken there by Joseph. Right on half forward. Difficult angle. He'll probably just pop this one up.
I think you're right. They don't want to let them score a goal. They've had complete control of the football in their forward line for probably 8 or 9 minutes then.
And they're not in front yet.
Well, there's the halftime siren.
And they won't be in front at three-quarter time.
Three-quarter time here at H.E. Parker Reserve. Joseph from a difficult angle. Kick looks good off the boot. Up towards the top of the square. Doesn't make the distance. And at half-time, it's Mitcham 6-3-39, leading Heathmont 5-7-37. Just recapping those goal kickers for Mitcham. Jackson Hallow has 2 majors. Cherry, Smythe, Tui and McCubbin all singles. While for Heathmont, it's Bajramov with 1, English, Burley, Stevens and Ryan Young. You're listening to EFL Game Day right here on 1377 SEN+. Don't go anywhere. More after this.
The Kids Edition. Footy for kids.
And you're clear. There's a bit of crackling coming through.
Cricket tournament in the world. The 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup is here, and you'll hear every ball live on
Okay.
Don't miss a moment of the action with every game live on 1377 SEN+, as well as a designated channel on the SEN app. Plus, every Australian game live on 1116 SEN.
He's caught it seconds left.
Simmons Homes, building quality, affordable homes since 1949. SEN is your home for the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup.
Ready to go your own way in an Isuzu Ute D-Max or MUX? Then come down our way to Frankston Isuzu Ute. Hi, Gordon Rose, inviting you to come see us in Wells Road, Seaford, opposite Cannonook Station. We're a locally owned family business with years of experience who look after our customers. We offer good trade-ins, have great finance and want your business. So for work, for play or getting the family around, make it an Isuzu Ute from Frankston Isuzu Ute, Wells Road, Seaford, LMCT 10901.
Hello. The biggest selling tile in Australia is 600 by 300 gloss white. And National Tiles is by far the biggest seller of these tiles in Australia. Why? It's simple. The average selling price is over $20 per metre, and National Tiles price is just $9.95 every day of the year. That's just one example of National Tiles' absolutely unbeatable everyday low prices on wall and floor tiles. So rush into National Tiles now and save.
This season may be over, but the NBA action never stops. The stage is set on June 21 for the NBA draft. Watch and see which teams draft the next generation of stars in the eye-popping fashion choices of this year's draft class. Then catch the NBA awards on June 25 to see who will take out this season's highest honours, the MVP, Rookie of the Year and more. Don't forget, with NBA League Pass, you can watch the NBA draft, NBA awards and Summer League live. Download the NBA app or visit NBA.com for details.
Hi, Craig Lowndes here. It doesn't matter whether I'm belting around a racetrack at 300 clicks or driving quietly down to the local shops with a family. There's always a lot riding on my tyres. And while I don't choose the tyres for my race car, I do choose Tyre Power to look after the tyres on my family car. Tyre Power give me absolute peace of mind with expert advice, a great range of big tyre brands to choose from, and the very best service. Yet more reasons why I get the power at Tyre Power. Seriously? Why would you buy your tyres anywhere else?
At Melbourne Airport, you can get 1 hour terminal parking for just $12. It makes it easy to greet your loved ones when they come home or give them a proper send-off. You can also park for up to 3 hours for just $24 and 1 day for $51. That's cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes, and everything in between, Melbourne Airport Parking is here to get you there. Visit Melbourne Airport.
Coming up to 1 minute.
To the game. From the game, back to where you were. Get there with Scooty. Melbourne's first motor scooter rideshare service is here. More nimble, more affordable. Scooty is the new, safe, greener, easier way to zip your way through inner city peak hour. Next time you're out and about, jump on the back of a Scooty. Download the Scooty app and book a ride.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
30.
Emotions, players can feel like a robot.
And what's wrong with that?
Nothing. Sorry, robot.
I can kick goals from 50 on my opposite leg.
No, you can't. But Robot Building Supplies can save us time and money. Steel sheeting and stumps.
Robots got it.
Wire mesh, roofing and timber.
Robots got it.
Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana.
10.
Darnham, robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
Robot Building Supplies.
India versus Afghanistan, tonight from 7:30 on 1370.
Okay, here we go.
Let's head back.
Putting mics on now. And go.
You're listening to 1377 SEN Plus EFL Game Day here, live from H.E. Parker Reserve, bringing you the Division 2 clash between Mitcham and Heathmont. We're at three-quarter time. Mitcham 6-3-39, lead Heathmont 5-7-37. Quick recap of the goal kickers for Mitcham. Jackson Hallow has a pair. Single goal kickers, Jesse Cherry, Jesse Smythe, Jake Toohey and James McCubbin, all with one. And for Heathmont, all single goal kickers, Bajramov, English, Burley, Stevens and Young with a goal apiece. Brett Davidson, your take on that third quarter?
It was a good quarter of football, that one. I thought Heathmont actually dominated the quarter. They were able to get the ball inside, repeat 50s a lot of the time. They worked really hard into that area, but they just weren't able to hit the scoreboard enough times for the amount of time they had it in there. They got close, and then Mitcham were able to get it out and transition it down to the forward line pretty quickly towards the end, and nearly had that shot on goal. But going to be an interesting quarter. It is a bit difficult. I still find it hard to work out who's going to win it. I suppose I'm leaning towards Heathmont maybe getting over the line and kicking a winning score, but it is a bit of a toss of the coin.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with Davo. There really isn't that much in this game. Both sides have had their moments where they've taken control of the contest, but neither side has been able to put either side away. So as long as we've got a close score, anything's possible.
Let's go down to BWS. Garza's boundary rider.
Boundary side, we went to the Mitcham huddle at three-quarter time, and I'm with the senior assistant coach, Aaron Smith. Aaron, what's your take on that third quarter? I suppose it was a bit of a lull on what was a very impressive second term there. What was the message at three-quarter time? I suppose lifting that intensity and getting those tackles up is key.
No, you're right, Ben. We need to reset in terms of our work rate in those key areas. So I think Heathmont, to their credit, really worked hard to get back into the game, and their work rate and intensity really lifted. So we have to match that and try and take it to the next level. For mine as well, we just need to get back to our work rate in the second quarter and see if we can't continue to take our chances and take the game on.
Good luck, mate.
Good on you. Thanks, Ben.
So the ball comes out of centre now. It's high up and under there. Les Cherry looking for the red well there, though, by Willenberg. His kick in towards the forward 50 here for Mitcham, going back. Double-fisted spoil here for the Jets. It's loose on the deck, paddled towards the boundary line there by Stevens, and it's escorted over finally, and we'll have a boundary throw in inside the 50 arc.
He was very lucky there, Stevens, that it actually hit the Mitcham player, because it was heading out of bounds and that could have gone either way.
He's been good though, Stevens. I reckon he's worked pretty hard.
Especially that third quarter.
In comes the boundary throw, loose footy at the back, running onto it now. Here is Carroll into an open goal, and he's kicked it. Mitcham open their scoring account here in the fourth term. They move to 7-3-45, leading Heathmont 5-7-37. Less than a minute played here in the final term.
And that is just really poorly set up at the contest, because every single time that there's been a ball in the forward 50, Mitcham have tried to go over the top into the corridor. They've done it again, and they've had a runner go by himself in that area. So that was poor from Heathmont defensively.
So Mitcham with that 8-point buffer. Yet again, it just seems every time Heathmont draw within a goal, the Tigers reply. And Zach Carroll on that occasion makes No mistake. And just some around the ground scores as well. Wanturna South and Knox in the local derby in Division 1. 7-5-47 apiece at three-quarter time. So looking forward to finding out how that one wraps up at the end as we're back in the middle. Gordon with the fist down. Smythe taken down in the tackle. Rather, it was Cherry. And a free kick ensues, and it's going to go the way of Gosball. Right on the wing, so not much to kick to. He goes with a long handball to English on the wing. Probably had more time than he thought than English, and slams it on the boot. Inside forward 50, players fly. No one able to take the mark. And now this is Burley, just pops it up long to the top of the goal square. Nearly brought in there but by the Heathmont forward, but Nicholas dragging it in. And Bajramov looks dangerous every time he goes near the footy. Nearly dragged that one in with one arm.
He did that very well. Held the player off and then made the tackle.
Well, speak of the devil, Bajramov took it out of the ruck. And he's given away the free kick here, so the Tigers will look to clear.
Another 25-metre penalty.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that one was for.
But nonetheless, it's been very costly for Heathmont today.
Yeah, it certainly has. McCartney kick out wide to the wing. And now the Tigers can mount a challenge here. Tui looking for Smythe, who spilt the mark. Tui once again up towards half forward. Punch from behind there by Gordon. We'll see a boundary throw in. As the Rangers starting to come down here at H.E. Parker Reserve. It's Mitcham 7-3-45, leading Heathmont 5-7-37. 3 minutes gone, final term on the Eastland scoreboard. Of course, you're listening on 1377 SEN Plus and simulcast live on 98.1 Radio Eastern. It's Van Leeuwen fed the handball out there to Haynes, and there's been another whistle. He's won himself the free kick, Haynes.
Should have got a 25 then, because he was dumped mercilessly after that.
So Haynes gives the handball off to English with a piercing kick up towards half forward. Nicholas, though, chops it off. He's been solid down back today.
Been very good, I think.
Battled willfully. Nicholas finds Tui, the half back, and he just chips backwards to Carroll. So Carroll goes way backwards now. And they'll look to reset from here, the Tigers. Rudd in the back pocket, just steps around Rourke, takes the game on, takes a bounce, and kick over the top, looking for Willenberg. Strong intent there by Gosball. And now the Jets, can they just mount it forward? They seem to have made a meal of it. Willenberg wrapped up in the tackle, and we'll see a ball up.
Well, Rudd made the mistake of playing on in defence and not having anyone to actually hit a target to, and then the Heathmont players have made up for it. So this is actually a good outcome for Heathmont with the ball is at the moment.
So ball up now here, right on the 50 arc. Attacking side of the ground here for the Jets. As the ball looks like it's a bit waterlogged now with the rain starting to come down. Brioni just to scorch that one over the boundary line. We'll have a boundary throw in. So 7-3-45. Mitcham leads Heathmont 5-7-37. Speaking of scores, let's go to Dan Sensick.
Yeah, Baldwin taking on South Croydon. 10 minutes gone, third term. Baldwin 69 plays, South Croydon 54. Three-quarter time at Bayswater, and it's 13-4, 82 Bayswater leading East Ringwood 4-5-29. And in the match of the round, arguably in Division 1, Croydon and Murrell Bark, it is dead tied at the final change, 4-6-30 apiece.
Thanks, Stan. I think I predicted that as the game of the round so far in Division 1. But Murrell-Bark and Croydon both in form at the moment. Here's the boundary throw in. It's loose on the deck. Laughlin went in, so did Willenberg, and it goes over the boundary line.
Well, I think we said there was two games that were dead level at three-quarter time. Knox
and Wanturna
South. So two of those games dead level, and we said they were all toss of the coin games.
Indeed they were. Here's the boundary throw in. Gordon over the top. Carroll's on the footy now. Breaks through one tackle. Gets a hand pass out. Well done. Ends up now here with Willenberg. He gets the give and go. Here's a hand pass forward. Goes about 25 metres. Picked up by Van Leeuwen. He gives a hand pass now here to English. And the Jets trying to break out of their backline. Brioni with nowhere to go. Puts it onto the right boot up towards centre wing. Near side of the ground. Push out there by Young. Giving the free kick away there to Joseph for Mitcham. It's a bit of a silly free kick to give away with 6 minutes played here in the final term. Here's the kick now in the direction there of Gordon. Big, strong mitts. Takes the mark, drags it down, puts it onto the left, up in towards the forward line. It's a one-on-one contest, but arriving from the back there was Savoury, and he swings it across here to Pert in the back line now here for Heathmont. Pert plays on quickly, has to be quick as he hesitated, but manages to get some time and space. But his kick is an absolute Barry Crocker. He comes back the other way in the direction there of McCubbin. He gets spoiled. Right now here to Hallow. His shot on goal is going to go wide and over the boundary line just for a boundary throw-in. Well, Bill Meal at the back there for the Jets.
Well, Merritt nearly caused a terrible turnover that could have really hurt them on the scoreboard, but as they are, they're still back in it. They've got to get the ball down forward, though, Heathmont.
Abruzzi is going back to 2017 form there in BWS. That was his kryptonite in the terms of the names. Anyway, Abruzzi has the footy now here for Heathmont. And he plays on quickly and just chips it across goal. And the Jets will work out from all the way out of their back line. The kick is an awful one, but Van Leeuwen takes it on the bounce and kicks it up in towards the mud patch in the centre square. Finn Brown's underneath it, can't take the mark, punched away from him. Here's Joseph in with a footy, tackled solidly there by Young, and a free kick given to Mitcham.
Three-quarter time in Premier Division. Roeville 14-7-91, North Ringwood 5-13-43. Strong lead there for the Hawks, and in Division 3 it's the Whitehorse Pioneers 9-8-62, doing the business very easily over Warrandyte 5-5-35.
Interesting score there between Whitehorse and Warrandyte. Here's the kick now across centre half back line now here. Nicholas, who's been a star in defence here for the Tigers all day, he swings round out wide, finds Tui. He goes by the right boot up towards centre wing. That was intended there for Carroll. Getting a hand to it there was Burley.
Again, both sides are letting themselves down in that second last kick into the forward 50, aren't they? That they're just not hitting the targets that they should be, especially when they're not under the pressure.
So Abruzzi doing the ruck work for the Jets, took it out of the ruck, led the race in front of Gordon, slammed on the boot there by Burley, up towards half forward. Fisk came from behind Haynes, had a crack at it. Now he's going to take on the Mitcham coach. Neil Winterton sees it over the line in driving rain.
Yeah, neither side can find any momentum here in this last quarter. It's almost like kicking hope, isn't it?
Well, an 8-point lead for Mitcham in this type of rain and these conditions. It's often hard to assail as the lights come on here at H.E. Parker Reserve. Carroll brought down in the tackle. English at the bottom of the pack, and they go again. Bryony, handball over the top. Merritt sends it inside forward 50. Rourke spilt the mark. Bryony goes once again. Rudd battles to just get clean purchase on the ball, and holding the ball on Glanville.
She didn't have much time.
So Glanville gives away the free kick there, and Heathmont have got an opportunity to close the gap to a couple of points here.
Have to kick this goal, Young. I think they need to kick this goal.
Yep.
So Ryan Young's already got one goal to his name today.
So I don't reckon they're going to get too many more opportunities the way this weather's settling in.
Well, it's an important kick for Ryan Young. As you say, Brash, not too many opportunities will come their way in these types of conditions as he comes in to kick. Looks good off the boot, he's nailed it. And the Jets draw within 2 points yet again. 6-7-43 Heathmont, trailing Mitcham 7-3-45. Nearly 10 minutes gone, final term on the Eastland scoreboard.
He's been good today, Ryan Young. I reckon he's worked hard over the 4 quarters. So, you know, it is anybody's game, but I just think it's going to be won or lost in these clearances. And the one thing that Mitcham have been good at has been their use of the ruck in the clearances. So if Heathmont can not allow easy clearances, then they get themselves right back into this.
So 10 minutes played here in the final term. It's Mitcham by 2 points, 45, plays 43. Here comes the hit out. English roved it well off the ruck. Gets it right back there from Bryony. Right through that mud patch there at centre square. Here's English's kick in towards the forward 50. It's punched away from the pack. In pursuit of the footy there is Coughlin. Beaten to it there by Tui there from Mitcham. His hand pass over the top to Winnerton. Gives it the give and go. Tui puts it onto the right boot. And a good mark taken here by Smythe, who turns around, puts it onto the right, chips it over the top there to Jackson Hallow. Has to be quick. He goes by hand now. Birds it off now here to West. West solves the dummy. Puts it in towards the forward line to the contest. McCubbin. And it's out of bounds on the full, and that build-up spoiled there at the end by Mitcham.
That wasn't bad play there by Mitcham. They really did move the ball very well. Just let down by that last kick.
And well, talking about let down by a kick, that is an absolute humdinger of that is out on the full.
And I'm sure James McCubbin's going to let him know about it too.
It was nearly that bad that he nearly scored.
Would have been a great goal check side, but no, this one's gone out of bounds on the full. And Parente, who has not featured on the score sheet all afternoon, despite being the leading goal kicker for Mitcham this season with 29.
Could be a clutch goal if he kicks it too.
Turns around onto the right boot. It's coming back. Oh, it's a contender for goal of the day there from Jake Parente. Hits 30th of the year. And that extends Mitcham's lead to 8 points, 8-3-51. They lead Heathmont 6-7-43. And that was a fatal error leading to a goal there for Mitcham.
It was a fatal error, but I think if they'll look over the tape of this game and they'll look back at a contest down on the half-back flank.
Young Coghlan.
And it wasn't a good enough contest. He allowed his opponent to get away from him way too easily, and that set up the +1 all the way down the ground. So, there are little things like that you've just got to be better at.
Well, 20-minute mark out at the Baldwin and South Croydon clash, and the Dogs are in front. 72 plays 70. 20 minutes gone, third term out at that clash as we turn our attention to the centre square here at H.E. Parker Reserve, and it's just an absolute mudslop in there. How's West getting up there? He's covered in it.
That is old-time footy, that's I'm loving that.
So you hope they got a hot shower for you, West.
I was going to say, he's trying to hide himself from the predator. Covering himself in mud, Arnie style.
So ball goes up, a Bruzy covered in it as well. No one able to get clean purchase, and they surge forward again, Mitcham. Kick goes inside forward 50. Parente looking forward again, appealing for the free kick for holding. He can't believe it. And the ball goes over the line and out of bounds for a throw-in. 13 minutes gone on the Eastland scoreboard. It's Mitcham. 8-3-51 leading Heathmont 6-7-43.
Unless the umpire's in position, they're never going to see that jumper tugging on the forward.
So ball in, a Bruzy wins the tap, but it's going nowhere. Let's cross down to Ben Warren Smith for car sales.
The rain's getting heavier and heavier down here, guys, and I tell you what, that ball is very waterlogged at the moment. If Mitcham can hold it in their forward 50 for the next 5 minutes, game over.
Yeah, certainly. As Bruzy just hacks it off the deck. But Mitcham with the numbers on the wing as they'll drive it forward once again. So players fly. McCubbin from behind, unable to take it. That was Hallow just at the bottom of the pack, just wrapped up.
Actually, he's done all right today, this Hallow.
Yeah,
a couple of goals to his name.
He's worked really hard in and under all day.
It's one of the key reasons Mitcham find themselves 8 points in front. 2 goals to his name today. Stevens at the bottom of the pack. Carroll just battling willfully, unable to get it clear. Ball up. Just an around the ground score. Vermont 13-6-84 leading Norwood 6-7-43 in Premier Division at 3/4 time.
I think that might be game over too, Dan.
In these conditions, very hard to assail a lead like that, assuming it's the same out at Norwood. And there's been a whistle here, and it's a free kick. Which way is it going to go? It's going to go the way of Mitcham.
Tell you what, the umpires this afternoon have probably left both sides a little bit bewildered by some of their decisions.
Yeah, they've certainly...
Because I see there's a lot happening off the ball there. I reckon that's probably what's happened this afternoon, Davo.
Well, it looks like there were 2 simultaneous free kicks, and
cross down.
Yeah, let's go down to Ben Warren Smith.
Well, it actually was a free kick across centre half forward, but because the player is across the half forward line is closer to goal, that's where the kick will be taken from.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, BWS.
So Neil Winterton to take it.
The coach.
Coach Neil Winterton, this could be his moment, and it would be very hard for the Jets to get back as he pops it long towards goal. It's away to the right. Mark taken last line of defence though by the Viking, Ben Abruzzi. And he's going to take his time, not a lot to kick to. As he plays it on now towards half back. No mark taken. They're in there once again, and that's that man in West covered in the mud again. He's very easy to tell.
I just reckon they've been better at that ground ball than Heathmont have been. Just a little bit cleaner at the ground ball.
It hardly looks like West is even wearing a jumper anymore. He's just that covered in it. And as Cherry just tunnel balls it out in the end, And the umpire calls for it once again. 8 points of difference on the Eastland scoreboard. 16 minutes gone, final term. Mitcham's way.
So in comes the tap. It's knocked down there by Gordon. And he's taken to ground. A good, strong tackle there by Stephen. Let's go down for a car sales boundary right at BWS.
Well, there'd no doubt be a bit of atmosphere behind you guys in the club rooms because a lot of people have moved in there. But what's really impressive is the amount of gazebos. It's like the nursery car park out here at HE Park today.
As a Brucey gets the handball out to Van Leeuwen. His kick went higher than it did further, but the mark is taken there by Haynes. And he plays on quickly. Got to be fast there to beat a couple of Mitcham players. Indecision, gets it out now here to Brioni. He evades a couple of tacklers, kicks it onto the right boot now, up towards the forward line, but it's all Mitcham. Rudd was there, but it's picked up here by Young. Breaks a couple of tackles, gets a handball out, looks for the teammate there in Osborne, can't get the footy out. It's loose on the deck. English dives in, so does Rudd as players converge. Here's Rourke now. Rourke, Peter Wilson style, cork in the ocean. And that's the goal of the day there from Tommy Rourke for Heathmont. And he's got his club.
What's happened here?
Oh.
Is it touched? What's happening here?
It's a goal.
It's been paid. It's been paid. Heathmont 7-7-49. They trail by 2 points. Mitcham 8-3-51. Tommy Rourke's goal has got them within 2. 17 minutes played here in the final term.
A little bit of theatre there between the umpires.
And you wouldn't think the ball would be able to bounce up like that in these conditions. But, oh well, they've got to, look, this is a crucial clearance now. You know, talk about clearances. Well, with not much time to go, a little bit down, cannot allow Mitcham to clear the ball if Heathmont want to win this game.
I reckon the quarter will probably only go about 24, 25 minutes.
So three-quarter time out at Trams Reserve. It's Doncaster 8-1-49 leading Noble Park. Trailing Noble Park 9-14-68. Handy buffer for the Bulls out there.
And they've been a bit inaccurate too, the Bulls.
So ball up once again in the middle of the ground. A Brucey thrown to the ground. Umpire called play on. And the Mitcham man, Gordon, just brought to ground there nicely there by Emily.
Good tackle that by Kyle Emily.
That's a coach's tackle on a big ruckman. That's a great effort.
So setting a great example there. Kyle Emily. Fair few leads going on inside forward 50, but he'll just wait for the best one. Pops it up to the flank. Nobody able to take it. They've got numbers front and centre though. Brioni. Can he pick the ball up? Sock it away though by Rudd. And the boundary line finds the footy.
I thought Kyle might have gone a little bit more direct than that, Davo, because with the game being so close, he's got a couple of tall forwards down there. Pop it up in the square and see if he can get a mark.
So we've just ticked over the 19-minute mark on the Eastland scoreboard. It's Mitcham leading by 2 points. 8-3 plays 7-7. And it's just an absolute scrum in there at the moment. Cherry unable to get rid of the footy. Umpire will ball it up. Every clearance crucial from here on in. Gordon wins it down to Cherry. Finds time and space and pops it up towards half forward. Looking for Parente, who takes it on the chest.
That's where it's interesting. That was paid against earlier on a number of times.
So Parente, short chip pass finds West. West sells a bit of candy, then gives the handball off to Carroll. Carroll over the top. From deep inside forward 50, they launch it up to the top of the pocket. Dangerous position here for the Jets, but rush through for a minor score, and they go to 8-4-52 Mitcham. Heathmont 7-7-49. 20 minutes gone, final term on the Eastland scoreboard. Let's go down to Benmore and Smith for car sales.
5 minutes left, gents, real time. And time on. 5 minutes left on the clock.
3 points, 3 points the margin here.
Why wasn't he allowed to play on then?
Yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, Heathmont finally moved the ball out of defence. Crucial clearance coming right here. Here's the kick up towards half forward. Brown couldn't drag the mark down. Nicholas is right on his hammer. He's met solidly there also by Willenberg. And we'll have a ball up right on the half forward flank here for the Tigers. Brown to do the rucking. Wins the tap. English got it off the ruck. He has to fight off a couple of would-be tacklers, and looks like he's going to be pinged.
Come up. Well, I don't know about that. I just thought that he actually did dispose of the ball in plenty of time.
Yeah, I agree.
As Jesse Uren will take the free kick now. His short kick in towards the unmarked Winnerton. And we're going to have He's going to go back and probably have a shot, I would say, from about 40 metres out, hugging the boundary line.
Well, the experience here of Neil Winnan and probably could milk a minute off the clock.
Hearing it here from the Heathmont faithful boundary side. A little bit of a smile on the face. I think the FX mic isn't down there, I'm sure.
You're probably just giving him guidance as to
where the wind's blowing and everything. Here's Winnerton off the right boot. He's got the kick, got the carry, not the distance. Sorry, not the accuracy. And he just adds another point here to Mitcham's tally. 8-5-53. They lead Heathmont 7-7-49. 21 minutes played here in the final term.
So Pert to do the kicking in duties here. And you just think he'll go for distance, which he does. Long barrelling kick up towards centre half back. Knocked straight back inside forward 50 though by the Tigers. Cherry hands it off to Smythe. Kick around the corner. How will this one go? And he's kicked the goal. No, he hasn't. Would have brought the house down. I was writing that one home. But the Tigers, they go to 8-6-54. Heathmont 7-7-49. 5 points the difference. Just ticked over 22 minutes on the Eastland scoreboard. Final term. Pert once again skips around and goes on his merry way. Kicks it long down the middle of the ground. Rudd chops it off though. He's been solid today. So Rudd sends it back inside forward 50, looking for Carroll, but they've got the numbers, the Tigers. Kick comes from over the top. And missing once again, so they're peppering the opportunities here, Mitcham. 8-7-55 the Tigers. Heathmont 7-7-49, nearly 23 gone. Let's go down to Ben Warren-Smith for car sales.
Nothing's better than being on the boundary, swanning between both supporter bases. It is absolutely game-on here. The Mitcham faithful are going nuts down here at the moment with those last few opportunities. Here go the Jets.
Here's Haynes kick up the wing now. Target is Merritt going back with a flight. Met solidly there by Glossop. Turned it over. Rudd puts it onto the right boot in the west direction. Willenberg arrives early and chops it off, gaining the applause there from the Mitcham brethren. Dead on centre wing.
They need to take possession of this kick here, Heathmont.
There's one kick in at 23 minutes gone. Here's the kick up towards the half-forward flank. Savoury won it. West got the crumbs, got tackled in the process, and looks like he's got a free kick, I believe. No, the umpire's...
That's where it's hard with the inconsistency. That's exactly the same as English.
Yep.
Had the ball, turned around, didn't get rid of it.
So here comes the ball, a Brucey to do the rucking duties, and it's going to go straight back to the umpire for a ball up. So the seconds tick away here. Let's go down to Ben Warren-Smith for car sales.
2.5 minutes left.
As the ball one now here through, getting one up high there was Cherry as he tried to burst through. And just trying to milk a few more seconds off the clock for Mitcham here is Cherry. He's about 60 from home here for Mitcham. Let's go to Dan Sensick with the scores.
8 minutes into the last quarter, and Forest Hill 9-11-65, leading East Burwood 10-6-66 in Division 4.
Close one. I think I had that one as my roughie on EFL Insight. So Gav Casey, if they win, thank you very much. 24 minutes gone here in the fourth and final term.
Mitcham have really dominated this last 10 minutes of the game, haven't they?
So Cherry
only needs a point.
Long way from home here, about 55 out. Puts it onto the right boot, not going to have the carry or the accuracy, going to fall 20 metres short at least. It's loose on the deck as West tries to bust out there for Mitcham, and he just ends up tying it up.
He's been very good this quarter, West.
So ball up, dead in front now here for the Tigers. 25 minutes, well into time on. It's swatted out there now. Falls onto the boot of Winnerton. His kick around the body. He's kicked it. Mitcham extend their lead here to 2 goals. And that could pretty much be the icing on the cake now here for the Tigers. 9-7-61. They lead Heathmont 7-7-49. 25 minutes played.
How's the leg break bounce?
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's the contest. They've really hurt Heathmont at the contest today. Their smalls have just been far too good for, probably apart from English. English has tried hard, but really they just haven't been able to get their hands on the football around that contest at all today.
And looks like the 6-6-6 rule is coming to play here because Mitcham are going to have another shot on goal here.
Well, it looks like the sting's been taken right out of this game with 12 points of difference. Can't be long left, and it's this man once again who's been solid all day.
I would expect the siren to go
Gordon
in a sec. Well, it just didn't go, but it should be going soon.
So William Gordon will milk up the seconds here. We've ticked over 26 minutes on the Eastland scoreboard. He'll kick from outside the arc, pops it on the boot. It's a high kick to the top of the square. No one there to take it. And the Jets just willfully battling now. And that ball going nowhere. We'll see a ball up. 9-7-61 Mitcham, Heathmont 7-7-49, 26 and a half gone, final term. What a second half it's been after a first half where it was very hard to come by goals. Kick towards the top of the square there by Gordon. And it's gone out of bounds. We'll have a throw in. So ball to be tossed in. It'll be a Brucey versus Gordon in the ruck. So there's the siren, and Mitcham run out 12-point winners here in the Division 2 clash here at H.E. Parker Reserve. Mitcham 9-7-61 defeating Heathmont 7-7-49. Gutsy win in the end by the Tigers, and they had to do it with huge intent from Heathmont.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, fantastic game of footy. Well, the first half was a bit sluggish. Third quarter it really came to life, and well, good fight back there from Heathmont, but just not enough in the end. The Tommy Rourke's goal, they were back in the game, but not to be. As Mitcham run out 12-point winners. Damo. Let's have it. Actually, we'll go through the goal kickers quickly before we cross to Davo. Only multiple goal kicker here for Mitcham was Jackson Hallow with a pair. Singles to Winterton, Carroll, Cherry, Smythe, Parente, Tui and McCubbin. And for Heathmont, Rourke, Bajramov, English, Burley, Stevens and Ryan Young was the only multiple goal kicker with a pair. Brett Davidson, your thoughts on that game?
Look, I suppose when you look at it, you've got to admit that I think Mitcham they were in front. Were they in front at quarter time?
No.
No, they weren't. They've hit the front at the start of the second quarter, and they haven't been headed for the entire game. So in some ways, you've got to say they've deserved that win. And really, when you look at it, apart from a period in that third quarter where Heathmont had absolute control of the football for good 10 minutes in their forward 50. The rest of the game, I thought it was pretty even. And Mitcham, once they changed their style of play in that second quarter when they started to move the ball a bit shorter, went inside more, didn't bomb it long, they became a little bit more dangerous. And when the ball hit the ground, they were certainly more dangerous in the forward line. The other thing was, I thought Heathmont's defence was pretty poor at times today. Didn't shut down the defensive area behind the contest in a boundary line contest. So Mitcham, well deserved. Tough conditions, away game. They needed to prove themselves against the top side, and they've done it today.
I think too, Steve, the other thing is, adding on to Brett, Mitcham were able to change their game style right to suit the occasion. But when Heathmont were asked the same question, they weren't able to do it. And they were forced into bad habits. And in the end, they couldn't find a way into their forward 50. And when they did, they butchered the ball. And they had 3 or 4 gilt-edge opportunities in that third quarter where they could have got themselves a little bit of a lead at three-quarter time. But with poor kicking, it's poor football, and they paid the penalty for that.
You have to think that there was that flurry there by Mitcham at the end where they really could have put Heathmont to the sword, particularly in that last 10 minutes.
Well, I think they've kicked, I think they kicked like 1 goal 4, I think, in a row in those forward entries. So really they had complete control of the game. I thought defensively they worked really well. The interesting thing was that when Heathmont had to go forward, they just weren't able to get, I suppose, any of their forwards get separation, and so Finn Brown wasn't able to get the separation at all. Bajramov wasn't able to do enough work. So there was, they had chances, they just weren't able to capitalise. And I think, I suppose when you look at it, an all-round performance, Mitcham were just that little bit better, and that's what the scoreboard says. And
you have to make, obviously, the rucking duel. I thought Gordon dominated both Naina and Abruzzi when they went into the ruck.
Oh, look, I thought he was he was outstanding today, right from the start, and it was his, I suppose, hits to effect that were to advantage that were the really important ones, and particularly the 2 goals that were from the back of the contest in the forward line, where he just palmed the ball over the back, and Mitcham were able to have 2 players run onto it and kick very easy goals. And in a game where goals are really hard to kick, you can't afford to allow an opposition kick easy goals like that.
Absolutely. We'll have some more scores come in from around the Eastern Football League shortly, as a lot of games still in progress. Now, that's Heathmont's 4th loss. They're now 6-4. Mitcham, they now go to 7-3. In terms of the rest of the season context, Davo and Brash, what do you see going forward?
Well, look, the unpredictability of this Division 2 is going to really continue to round 18, because I think it always happens. Different ground conditions will produce different results, and some sides will be able to play better football in dry conditions and overrun their opposition. Whether that could be said for both these sides, we won't know that until it comes to a dry game. But I don't think for Mitcham, it was an important win for them because it gives them a bit of self-belief after not being able to beat any of the top sides around them. However, Heathmont, they can probably rue the fact that this is one that, that they didn't play their best football, but they get done by 2 goals. But there's still plenty of upside, I think, for both sides. But I think in the overall scheme of things, we're not going to know to the end of round 18, because these 2 sides could finish anywhere between 2nd and 5th.
Let's go to Dan Sensick with some scores.
Well, Mulgrave have gotten it done over Scoresby in the end. A tight encounter out there. 13-7-85 Mulgrave defeating Scoresby 11-8-74. So for the Magpies, a case of so close yet so far.
Yeah, it's yet to win one. Scoresby, as we mentioned though numerous times throughout the season, big loss of goal kicking, and that seemed to be their downfall this season. Let's have another score. 20 minutes gone, last quarter in Division 1 at Bayswater, 14-8-92, doing it pretty easily over East Ringwood at the moment, 7-6-48. And in Premier Division, Baldwin have kicked away, 15-5-95, leading South Croydon, 11-6-72 at 3/4 time.
Well, when we're looking at, just looking at what's coming up for these 2 clubs, and next week we've got Mitcham play Mulgrave at Mitcham, and Heathmont have got Scoresby at Scoresby. So, you would think that they're both going to win those, and then the week after it becomes interesting because Heathmont play Templestowe at Templestowe. Mitcham have got the Basin at the Basin. So there's no real easy games coming up. There's no way of getting that easy separation, and that's why games like today are worth 8 points.
And the thing is, we don't have those extra 2 sides, right, that allow you those get out of jail free easy games anymore, Davo. And that's why the divisions are so close.
And I suppose the other one in that is that you look at who do these teams play 3 times.
Yeah.
And Mitcham play Mulgrave 3 times, and Heathmont play Scoresby 3 times. So that's an interesting one as well in itself. When you've got that sort of dynamic.
And they play each other 3 times as well.
And Mitcham play Scoresby 3 times.
Yes.
So, you've got a situation where, it is as to who you play and who you don't come up against, which is really, really interesting. I think we might be speaking to in a moment
Neil Winterton.
Neil Winterton.
We'll just wait for BWS to set himself up, and looks like he's ready now. So BWS stand with winning coach Neil Winterton.
Well, Neil, I tell you what, mate, it's I think just trying to get these headsets on was more difficult than the game that was played out there today. It was Dumb and Dumber, but I was both of them in that same, mate. That was such an impressive performance today to be able to come away. We'll just turn around and look at Lee Green in the camera as well. I tell you what, to come away from home in a game like that in tough conditions, where Heathmont have a very big following at home. You've got a great travelling following. Don't take anything away from that. But that was a 4/4 performance by you boys today.
Yeah, it really was. We'd had a really focus this week. It's such an important game. If you have a look at the ladder, Ringwood are half a game clear, and then I think there's us, Templestowe and Heathmont are all on the same points, and Bronte are only a game out of the 4. So this was a really important game for us. I thought we let one slip last week. All full credit to Ringwood, but I felt we were in that game for a lot of it, and we've probably done that a couple of times throughout the year. I lost a couple of close ones. So yeah, as you said, to be able to come here in difficult conditions, they're always hard to beat out here. They've got a really loud crowd. I can tell you firsthand, I had a couple of shots from the boundary, and I was getting a bit of advice, mate, that was a bit fruitful. But yeah, to get the win I thought was one of our best four-quarter performances for the year.
And I tell you what, that sealing goal by yourself there in the last quarter, mate, that must have made you feel pretty good about yourself as well, because knowing probably it wasn't too much longer left, and that was not the icing on the cake, but probably the sealer.
Yeah, it was, mate. We probably missed a few chances, myself included, and we probably rushed a few kicks going forward in that last quarter, and you never want to give the opposition, especially the home team, the chance to be able to rebound and kick a goal. So yeah, to kick that one certainly made my life a bit easier.
Well, we'll see if the boys give you the goal of the day and the award afterwards. I'm just putting a little bit of added pressure on for you there, mate. But we're going to cross up to the rooms. Here's Brett Davidson.
How you going, Neil? Look, I think today the difference was in the first quarter when you got the ball outside 50, you seemed to just bomb it wildly forward, and then in that second quarter, lowered your eyes, hit small targets, worked your way up the ground, and I thought every time the ball then went inside your 50, you looked actually dangerous.
Yeah, that's spot on, mate. We spoke about a quarter time where we had a couple of really scrappy entries going forward. And we had a real focus to move the ball as quickly as possible after quarter time, and I thought we did that really well. And we've got the belief that if we can give our forwards some good one-on-one opportunities, that they're going to do the work for us. But yeah, if we hack the ball going forward, or we're slow with our ball movement, allow the defenders to get back, it certainly makes life harder on our forwards. But yeah, after quarter time, I think our ball movement was good, and yeah, certainly our kicking going inside 50 was much more efficient after quarter time.
I think the other one was we noticed that like Parenti's been a key forward for you all year, and he's been a real target. Today you didn't need to use him in that role. You seem to be able to put it into areas where the smalls actually were really clever, and we were just saying that the work from your big ruckman Gordon up forward, where he was able to put the ball into the channel at the back of the contest a number of times where you got easy goals, was really important for you.
Yeah, look, for sure. Jake's the best forward in the competition, so we obviously want to use him when we can, but it's, you don't want to be predictable to the opposition as well. I'm sure every week the opposition, plan to combat Jake, so we've got to be able to find other avenues to goal. And, he worked up a little bit high throughout the day, and he's really smart with ball in hand as well, so he's not just a goal kicker. But yeah, you're right, Matty Gordon in the ruck, he's a big, strong body, and he's able to nudge his opponent out of the way, and as you said, get the ball into some really good channels. And I thought our small forwards were really dangerous all day, and in a game where it is slippery and scrappy, sometimes you don't get pretty goals. You just have to be able to get them somehow, and I thought our small forwards did a good job throughout the day being able to do that.
Neil, I just thought that leading that forward line, that small forward line charge was Jackson Halo, as well as the run of Jesse Wren off that half back flank. You'd be really impressed with the way your young guys are really developing into this side. Yeah, look, for sure. Jackson Halo has been in really good form the last few weeks. He's hard at the footy, and he probably only weighs 60-something kilos, but he's not afraid to put his belt on the line, which he did a few times. He backpacked in that either the first or second quarter and took a really courageous mark, and yeah, he's really smart around the goal, kicked a beautiful snap goal I think in the second quarter. And Jesse Wren, who we've made vice captain this year, which is a real feather in his cap as a 19 or 20 year old, only playing his second or third year of senior footy, so he's just so smart the way he uses the ball off half back. And we played him more in a wing role for a majority of the year, but we put him back to half back today, which he's really familiar in, and he was really good for us today, I thought, off half back. We know Finn Brown's been is a dangerous forward for Heathmont, and we know he can kick lots of goals, but the job that Riley Nicholas did on him today, I thought was outstanding. Yeah, look, it certainly was. Riley, I gave Riley the job and spoke to him about it, because I'd watched a bit of vision over the last few weeks, and he's a quality player. He leads up to the footy really well, and he's got a nice jump at the footy, but Riley's no mug. Riley won our best and fairest last year, so when there's an opposition forward who we think is good overhead or who leads really well, we got the confidence that Riley can do that, and he outmarked him a few times, and he uses the ball well coming out of defence as well. So yeah, Riley's game today was fantastic. With the advent where we have so much really good weather now through the home and away season, do you think sometimes we've lost the art because of the odd Saturdays that we get of playing wet weather football? Yeah, you're spot on, mate.
I could count on one hand the amount of wet games we've played over the last 2 or 3 years, and because the grounds are in such good condition as well. Like today was, you'd call it, I suppose, a wet game, but apart from the middle, the ground's in pristine condition. So yeah, it can be a bit of an adjustment, and you do have to change the way you play when it gets a bit slippery. Maybe just get a bit of yardage and get the ball going forward, and it's not always pretty. But yeah, I think you're right. It is a big adjustment for each team when it is wet, because you just don't get faced with these conditions all that often.
All right, Neil, go and enjoy this one, mate. Thanks very much, and congratulations on the win today.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
It's Neil Winnerton there, coach of Mitcham Footy Club, taking the win here for the Tigers in, as he talked about, wet conditions out here at H.E. Parker Reserve. Mitcham 9-7-61, defeating Heathmont 7-7-49. Don't forget to stay tuned to the EFL post-game show coming up at 5 o'clock with Damo Watson in the SEN studios. We'll bring you all the scores and results from around the Eastern Football League. But right now, Dan 10-6 got some.
Yeah, 23-minute mark of the last quarter. 9-14-68 Forest Hill. East Burwood 10-6-66. So looking forward to seeing how that one all wraps up in Premier Division. Vermont got the job done pretty easily in the end over Norwood. 15-9-99. Norwood 7-10-52. In Division 1, Bayswater 15-9-99, defeating East Ringwood 7-6-48. And this was, a huge clash. Local derby, Wanturna South, 5-point victors over Knox. 9-6-60, the Devils, defeating Knox 8-7-55. So a big win there for the Devils, a morale-boosting win, you'd think, to get back on the winners list. Mulgrave, as we mentioned before, 13-7-85, defeating Scoresby 11-8-74 in Division 2. And in Division 3, Whitehorse 9-10-64, defeating Warrandyte by 19 points, 6-9-45. And in Division 4, the match of the round, Coldstream 6-14-50, defeating Surrey Park 7-7-49. So 1 point the difference. In the end there, I can just see Gav Casey's head exploding with the permutations of all these results, Steve.
I'm sure there'll be some humble pie on Tuesday night. Well, they're in the SEN studios. But as we wait for BWS to grab another player, I think he has got one already, and it's I think we're going to go down to Riley Nicholas, who's standing by with BWS.
Yeah, good timing there, Steve-O, and we're down here with Riley Nicholas, who got a few Bronx cheers on the way out, saying that he might have actually asked for this interview. That's not correct. I did go in and request him, because I tell you what, best and fairest winner last year, and a very solid game today, playing on probably one of Heathmont's gun players in Finn Brown. Fantastic performance by you and the team today, mate. You must be, and it's very happy scenes in those rooms at the moment, and I hope there's hot showers, not just cold ones too.
Hopefully they haven't used it up by the time I get back. But no, it was really good today. I mean, as you said, we've lost 3 of our last 4 coming into this, so we needed to sort of switch things around and change things up. And the boys did a really good job through the 4 quarters, and yeah, that's all we could really ask for. So
when I was out at the huddle at 3/4 time, I really did get the sense that you guys really wanted this. You were hungry for it. There was a tinge of disappointment with how the 3rd quarter had played out, but it's a 4-quarter performance essentially today. Really hard ground to come out and play on, especially in the conditions also today. But the way you guys rallied in that last term, absolutely sensational. Season-defining type game today.
Yeah, very much. I mean, Heathmont are a very good side, so we know we had to come in and play well. And as you said, 3rd quarter, probably not our best. I think they kicked 3 goals, 1 or something like that. So even as a defensive unit, we knew that we had to at least limit them or make them play a bit more contested than what they were used to. So, yeah.
Riley, when did Neil tell you that you had the job on Finn Brown, and did you have plenty of time to think about how you were going to go about it?
Yeah, no, he told me Thursday night and a little bit Tuesday. He said we're just keeping an eye to make sure that he's going to be playing and if he's not getting called up to the VFL. But no, I watched a fair bit of him on the weekend against Mulgrave, so I got some tips and tricks from that, and that helped me a lot today. So.
What's it been like? It's been a bit of a rejuvenation in recent years at Mitcham. There's a lot of young blokes starting to come to the club and start to play in the seniors. You must be excited about the future that's happening up at Mitcham.
Yeah, very much. As you said, I think we've got at least 12 or 11 in our top 18 and top 24 that are at least under 21. So we know few of us came across and the club was really appealing to us, so we thought, why not play senior footy here and get a bit of a taste? So, yeah.
It's always, look, it's good when you get a group of young guys together, because that's what builds the camaraderie, especially in games like today, because for periods of time, Heathmont really looked like they threatened to take the game away for you, especially in that third quarter. But your back six really did stand strong, didn't it?
Yeah. As I said, the third quarter was probably our biggest turning point because we knew fourth quarter they were going to come, and if it was going to come, we really needed to hammer into them and keep them to play contested. If we let them run, they were going to throw. I think Ahan had a few out the back. That was kind of a bit lackluster for us on, not turning on and not switching on. But yeah, we switched it up and we stayed tuned in and got the 4 points, which was good.
I think we were talking about the fact that when you get the ball in the back half, you like to go out wide. You've got runners that go to the boundary, you go out wide. First quarter, you got caught out there a few times and weren't able to get the ball back in. But then in that second quarter, you turned it round. You went a little bit shorter, but a little bit more inside. And was that the game plan to get the ball in the forward line a bit easier?
I think we sort of picked it up a little while that they were leaving the middle a bit more exposed. And as you said, we hit the middle a lot. And instead of just turning and sort of kicking, we actually hit handballs and runners through. Because if we kept again going down the line continuously, that wasn't going to get us anywhere. So we knew we had to at least hit 45s a bit more often.
And while he doesn't probably play a lot down in the defensive area, big Will Gordon, he's certainly a mountain of a man that's able to work pretty hard for you in that middle, isn't he?
Yeah, big Gordo. Yeah, he's definitely a rock in the ruck and down forward. He does a lot for us. So yeah, couldn't have asked more for the big fella.
Is he the type of person that when we go in and you can throw him under a bus and we'll get him out here to have a little chat with?
Oh, potentially. He might even get a bit of an ego boost and get a big head. So
that is fantastic. Thanks for having a chat with us. Do you know how embarrassing it is standing next to players out here, guys, when I'm sweating the house down and these guys have played a full game and they look fine as? Unbelievable, mate. You're Mitcham. We love watching Mitcham play good football. They've had such a great history over the last 10, 15 years, and you're back in town and you're playing really good footy. We'll be coming out to a home game before the season's out.
Beautiful. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Riley Nicholas there with BWS from the Mitcham Footy Club. I'd have to say he's a contender for the votes this afternoon.
Definitely.
Yep.
I was just going to say, I was going to ask Davo this question with regards to the ground. Now, that little square there of 10 to 15 metres, do you reckon today that some of the sides, especially in the first half, deliberately didn't want to avoid going through there, but in the end, in that second half, just through necessity only, they had to use it as a way of getting to the goal quicker? Yeah, look, I think sometimes it's a little bit mental, isn't it? When you look at it that way, and they look at it and they think that it's this pit that you go into and you can't get out of. Yeah. As long as when the thing about mud is that if you're trying to carry the football through the mud, it's really difficult because it's slippery. But you can still head towards that area and you can go over the top of the area. It's not a huge area, that space, but I think what happened was Heathmont, and I think we said it at the end of the game there, where the coaches, Kyle Emley's got the ball, and I think he could have gone through that area and gone long into his forward. Instead, he went out wide and the ball then went out of bounds, and they lost a little bit of impetus from the situation. So I just think Mitcham adapted to the ground a little bit better and played the smarter football around that section and weren't afraid to go in there, but not right into the middle of it. They just went around the outside of it, which was pretty smart footy.
Looks like BWS has grabbed Matty Gordon there from the Mitcham Footy Club, and he's standing by.
Well, yeah, we've got Will Gordon here, mate.
Will Gordon, sorry, mate.
That's all good, and it was good to get the call out in there in the change rooms as well for him to step up as well. It's always good to hear the boys give the Bronx cheers to the guys who come out for the interview. We might have enough time, even Will, for someone else to come in. So just ponder on who that might be, who you'd like to throw under the bus. But mate, what a great game that was by the side. I tell you what, in conditions where we don't see winter too often, this ground's actually held up okay. But it was where the football, especially with in the middle of the ground, that ball did seem to be very waterlogged towards the end of the game. But for a big man, it does get tougher than probably some of the smaller ones. But you were absolutely sensational today, mate. How have you pulled up, and how do you feel after that victory?
Yeah, that was actually probably the most fun game I've been a part of this year, I reckon. Just back and forth, everyone was just competing all day. It was nuts. But plenty of soldiers, like you said. Once it gets heavy, especially the big fellas, the mud sinks a bit deeper, so each step takes a bit more. But this ground's held up really well. We were a bit worried, but no, it was perfect.
Well, Will, we thought that you actually controlled the ruck all day. We thought when Naina was in the ruck against you, he tried to jump over the top of you and you just used your body really well. And then when Abruzzi went in there, it was a great contest, I think, but two of you seemed to a bit of a clash of the titans. You both used your bodies really well. Have you worked really hard on your ability to actually fend off those players and palm the ball down, especially that one behind you? You used that one really well today.
Yeah, so I did a lot of off-season work about holding my position, make it a lot harder for me pushed out. So once that initial contact's on, I'm generally pretty confident that I can push him off and just make a good tap.
And your follow-up work too, have you been working on that? Because we noticed that once the ball got out of your area, you didn't stop and watch. You got in there and at times you were nearly like a ruck rover in the way that you approached it. Is that something you've worked on as well?
Yeah, it was a big thing me and the coaches talked about, that I've got to be in the mindset, as soon as that tap's done, I've got to just enter phase 2 instantly, and just once I'm down the ground, I'm looking for anything to do, really.
Well, one thing I did notice though, with regards to Chris Naina, in the end it looked like to me that you really had won the points on him, because he was getting very confused because he didn't know which way he was going to get the ball or take the front position. Do you as a ruckman, can you sense when you've got the opposition ruckman a little bit phased?
Oh, definitely. You'll let him know about it as well, but definitely.
Did you mention anything about maybe a spray tan or anything today as well?
Nah, I don't bother with that stuff, mate. He got pretty big arms, so stay away from him.
Fair cool.
Well, in the overall context of the season, we've been talking about the fact that Mitcham have really struggled against like the Ringwoods and the Templestows. How important do you think for this group today was it to come out and make a little bit of a statement?
Yeah, really important. We started off 5-0 and we kind of went away from what we wanted to do, and we kind of worried about opposition a bit too much, and today we just went back to what we did best, and it paid off. It was really good.
Fantastic stuff there, mate. Thanks for having a chat with us. We won't give you an opportunity to throw someone else under a bus, because a lot of our listeners will be looking forward to hearing some around-the-ground scores, but we look forward to talking everything Mitcham football tomorrow on EFL Sunday at 10 a.m. on 1377 SEN. Plus, enjoy the celebrations tonight. You deserve a beer. You deserve several beers, mate. Can't wait to see you play next time.
Thanks, BWS. That's Will Gordon there with BWS. We might as well get into our votes. Got about 10 minutes left here on EFL Game Day before we hit the post-game show. So I think we'll go through our Eastland Player of the Game votes, but we might go to the goal of the game, I think, first. If I will nominate Tommy Rourke's goal for Heathmont. Any objections or any other suggestions?
No, I think probably his leg break was probably had a bit more on it than the leg break of Neil Winterton. So I think he gets the Warney Award for the best leg break of the day.
I've got to say, Parenti's goal in that last quarter was a good goal too.
Yeah.
That was up for consideration, but I'm happy to go with Tommy Rourke.
Okay, so congratulations, Tommy. Tobin Brothers' goal of the day. I'd also have to say Jackson Halo's first goal was probably another contender. So plenty of good goals despite the scoreline. But we'll get into the Eastland best on ground for this afternoon. Brash, I'll ask for your 3-2-1 first, mate.
Yeah, look, and commiserations probably to Ben Abruzzi. I thought he was Heathmont's best player today, but I couldn't fit him in the votes. I'm giving my number one vote to Jackson Halo. I thought he worked extremely hard during, especially in that first half. He put his body on the line, was in and under, and he was trying to create plays, and he kicked
State of Origin, Game 2. This
2 votes. Well, it could have either gone to this guy or the other guy. I gave the 3, but I thought Riley Nicholas's job on
Okay, guys, what's happening?
On Finn Brown was outstanding. So I'm going to give him my 2 votes. But Will Gordon in the ruck, I think he led them a merry dance all afternoon. Not only with the tap outs, but around the ground as well. And I think Chris Naina, he really lowered Chris Naina's colours this afternoon, Steve.
Okay, so Gordon with the 3 votes. Davo.
I've gone 1 to Ben Abruzzi. I thought his work up forward was solid. He was smart in what he did, and then when he went in the ruck, he nearly got them back into the game with his heavy work around the ground. So I've given him 1 vote, and then I've gone the same with Brash. I've given 2 votes to Riley Nicholas to keep Finn Brown down to the... I know Finn's probably could have kicked 3 or 4, but he really didn't have a lot of influence on the game, and Riley himself was solid, distributed the ball well, and I thought he was very good in defence. But again, not that I like Ruckman, but I just seem to be giving Ruckman votes. And Will Gordon today, right from the very first bounce, he took control of this game, and in a game where it was won at the contest, his ability to feed his players at the contest was second to none. So he gets the 3 votes from me.
Dan.
Yeah, look, I saw this one. The ruck battle was the intriguing clash all day, and the game was largely controlled by that. So to kick things off, I've given Will Gordon my 3 votes. 2 votes I gave to Riley Nicholas. I thought he battled well down back all day, was solid. He was absolutely fantastic, and great to hear from him before as well. But the 1 vote I gave to Jackson Hello. 2 goals today, kicked a couple of absolute rippers, and at crucial stages of the game as well.
All right, and I've gone in terms of the 1, 2, 3 for aforementioned reasons that you guys have touched on. Hello with 1, Gordon with 2, and I gave Riley Nicholas 3. But with 11 votes, it's Will Gordon. He takes the Eastland Player of the Game, so congratulations to him, well deserved. And well, looking forward, we've still got some more scores coming in from around the league. We'll have all the scores after 5 o'clock here on SEN 1377, so make sure you stay tuned for that with Damo Watson live from the SEN studios, and tomorrow EFL Sunday live from the SEN studios as well from 10 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. But got to mention BWS, some great work from you this afternoon.
And right now, Scooby is looking...
Well, looks like is BWS on mute. No, he should be good to go now.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's great to be back, and well, and in the rooms as well. Talking about throwing people under a bus, you just did that to Bruce as well. So no, look, do you know what? The last 2 times I've been on air is the sense that I love being on the boundary. There's such a good atmosphere out there. It was the Queen's birthday game. Now it was in a big clash out here today.
And roofing and timber. Be the winning team on site. For your building supplies, order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au or call 1300-GO-ROBOT. You'll speak with a real human.
ROBOT Robot Building Supplies.
Breakfast with Gary Lyon and Tim Watson.
Yeah, McLaughlin, do you think he's staying in the position for much longer?
Well,
what are you hearing?
I think there's an expectation, Tim, that probably at the end of next year that he would move on, because I think he's contracted to the end of 2020. There's been some speculation in the paper about who his successor might be.
Who do you think it'll be?
Well, probably Brendan Gale.
For Melbourne Airport Long-Term Car Park.
10 seconds.
AEG Power Tools and Toyota Means Business. Back Monday from 6.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
Okay, here we go, guys.
And go local for your footy.
Mic's on now. And go.
All right, welcome back to EFL Game Day here on SEN 1377. Had a little bit of a drop out there, so yeah, we may have missed some of the content we just had during that break. We had the votes for the best Eastland player of the game, and we went to Will Gordon, so congratulations to him. And the Tobin brothers' goal of the day went to Tommy Rourke. We've got about 5-6 minutes left here on EFL Game Day, and I was just talking to Ben Warren-Smith on the boundary line. Great work from you this afternoon in trying conditions.
Well, they were, but they weren't. It wasn't actually heavy rain, and God forbid Matt Fodia would have left us his umbrella last year when he departed ways. But like I was saying earlier, it was like the nursery out here at the hangar. There's gazebos everywhere, so the atmosphere was completely there. And especially even when the rain came down, everyone's, huddling under. The crowds were split. And I was dead set, in that last term, I was just walking back and forth, just getting amongst the faithful there, because the game was in the balance for such a long time as well. Sort of had that feeling that Mitcham were going to hold sway. And a fantastic game by them. The jubilation in those rooms is when I mentioned in that second interview, season-defining type stuff there, because they went into three-quarter time confident. They went into the rooms after afterwards, patting each other on the back, really fired up about that, and loved listening to that Yellow and Black song as well. It was absolutely sensational. So hats off to Mitcham. We've been dying to see them. We've seen them now. They are the real deal. Congratulations, Tigers.
Well, thanks, BWS. We'll catch you tomorrow on EFL Sunday from 10 o'clock on SEN 1377, and you can have your chair back on EFL Insight this week. I kept it warm for you. But
it was a good show, mate. Dan's got to tell me if I'm welcome back. He might have to see now.
Well, I guess I'll leave it up to the boss, eh?
Come back through the reserves.
All right, so we kick Gav out and I come in that way.
Starting with Brash, great work from you again this afternoon, mate.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, look, a great encounter. Congratulations to Mitcham. Thoroughly deserved win. Heathmont, a little bit back to the drawing board for mine.
Davo, great work again from you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a good game of football, and I tend to agree with Brash. I think Mitcham surprised me. I thought they played better than I expected, and I think they're going to be worthy finalists. Mitcham have got a little bit of work. Heathmont got a little bit of work to do yet.
Dan Sensick, media manager of the EFL, and a top call from you this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, Steve White. Likewise, and for the second week in a row, we've had a close one, and it's been absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely, and for the second week in a row, we've turned into the EFL front bar here later on in the show. But to wrap things up here from H.E. Parker Reserve, it was Mitcham 9-7-61 who defeated Heathmont 7-7-49 in Division 2 in the Eastern Football League. Stay tuned now, and at 5 o'clock, Damien Watson live from the SEN studios with the EFL post-game show. He'll bring you all the scores and results around the league as you go local for your footy. 22 games across the league this afternoon, so make sure you tune in as you drive home from the various grounds around the Eastern Football League. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow, 10 o'clock, EFL Sunday here on SEN 1377. Join BWS and the crew as they'll break everything down, as well as all the coaches.
Absolutely. Wayne Brasher and Tim Fitzsimons, Damien Watson, Bruce Press from the Lot Productions. Great stuff setting us up today and making sure everything runs swimmingly. And of course, Lee, Roy, Green, LKLM Media, the best in the business, Stephen.
Absolutely, BWS. So that does it here for EFL Game Day. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Stay tuned now for the EFL post-game show. We'll catch you later.
And you're clear.